Elmore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
What do you even say? Wanders in here. Let's go. Come on. Shows up on time, which I gotta be honest with you, was actually kind of problematic for us. Yeah, a bit early today. And then, he's ready to go. He says, come on, let's do a show. I'm here. Let's go. Once the song finishes, that's how we start the show. And then I look up, and he's gone. There he was. Drew Forrester. For those of you that were with us on video, you did get to see him today. If you
actually they didn't, because I had the starting slate
well then never mind.
So they didn't see him. They do see his empty chair right now, for what it's worth.
I don't know if we're not lying.
Well, his cup is there. You can see that. I think people can tell. People know that that's not either of our thermoses.
It could just be a thermos that wandered into the studio. God, it's so funny. Hi, Glenn Clark Radio. Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. Scenarios are up, Facebook and Twitter at Glenn Clark Radio. Oh, and Blue Sky as well, if you want to respond there. Remember to check on Blue Sky when we pick a winner, Griffin.
I understand, yeah.
Do you?
I mean, I think so.
Do you?
It's randomly selected. So it's
coming up on the program today, we're going to talk Terps with Len Elmore. We're going to talk Orioles with JJ Hardy. We'll get to NBA Corner, of course, because that's what we do on Wednesdays. Some of you got duped by someone on Twitter last night that thought, including Brian Powell. Brian Powell sent me a tweet. Richard Pitino to Villanova.
What was that guy's name? Rob something?
I don't know, but immediately I looked at it and said,
I think that's right.
I feel like I'm going to have to teach a media literacy class at some point. Like, I feel like that's going to have to fall upon me to teach media literacy. And maybe that is my calling.
Maybe. I mean.
But I get it. I'm not going to win. Everybody's just going to still choose to retweet something they see that looks interesting to them before they bother to do any of the work. But it doesn't take much to say, hey, this guy who I can't see what his credentials are is saying something, but none of the people whose credentials are known are saying the same thing. And it doesn't mean that once in a blue moon, there isn't a scenario like that that proves to be right. Every now and then, some random person has something before all of the, reporters have it. It's happened. But the likelihood, slim is the way that I would describe it. So no, Richard Pitino not to Villanova, instead to Xavier, which means another day where Villanova doesn't have a coach, and one more presumed candidate goes by the wayside. And yes, we all know that Kevin Willard, as we talked about yesterday, went on the radio show on 980 in D.C. and said to Kevin Sheehan, for now, I'm staying. Which, as I pointed out yesterday, depending on how you hear that, means everything, nothing, or everything to the other side. I mean, it literally, you could hear that and say, that means he's staying. You could try to take him at his word. I don't think he would say that if he, or you could say, that literally means he's going, because he's putting in the specific caveat. He's just trying to say, I'm going to coach Maryland until the NCAA tournament's over. And he just doesn't want to say that out loud, so he's saying this instead. Or you could be like most of us and just think it means nothing at all. And just think it's his way of, I will acknowledge your question and that you're asking a question, and so I will say some words in response, but they don't actually mean anything. And that's immediate 100% the way that I take it. What does it mean? Maryland still has a basketball game to play tomorrow night. A really difficult one against a very good Florida team. And maybe or maybe not any of this impacts them. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. The general consensus appears to be that this is just the new, era of basketball, and players get it, and it doesn't impact them. I think that's been the strongest argument, has been, look, these guys don't know if they're going to be back at Maryland next year anyway. We know 3 of them definitely won't be. Selton Miguel, Juju Reese, and Derek Queen. Only 2 of them, if you want to include Deshaun Harris-Smith on this list for whatever, I think a lot of us have believed that it's time for Deshaun Harris-Smith to maybe look into moving a level down, maybe a mid-major, to try to find some greater opportunity to.
Yeah, that one almost feels. Yeah.
Well, but I think a lot of us maybe thought that last year, and that wasn't the case then. But for the 2 guys that are going to be around, they are in this place where they might not want to be back at Maryland anyway. So they just really might not care what Kevin Willard is going to end up doing. And, in fact, if he's told them, hey, by the way, how does $1.5 million to play at Villanova next year sound? They might be excited about it. So we'll find out. But it's not going to be Richard Pitino at Villanova. And so they still need a coach, and there's only one that seems to be in the conversations. What do you have for today?
Nothing.
Okay, good to see you. That's Drew Forrester, Drew'sMorningDish.com. Fairways and
I'm
Greens.
just here tagging along today for you, with you. You just tell me what you need.
Believe
What
it or
you need.
not,
Just pepper me with
think
questions.
I think I'll make it through with or without you.
Pepper me with 5 questions. What do you got?
Five
Give me
questions.
5 questions.
5
I'll answer
questions.
rapid fire.
Who won the video game golf thing?
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
In dramatic fashion.
Oh,
Wow.
in 2 games.
The
or 3
actual
games?
finals were interesting.
I'm sure they
They
weren't.
were interesting.
But sure. I'm so
Dramatic.
sure.
Billy Horschel was the hero.
Ah, good for Billy Horschel. How
Billy
about
Horschel.
that? How
And his
about
daughter said to him when they were losing 3-0, "Daddy, you got this because you're better than those guys."
that? Hell yeah.
That's
I
what
love
she said
that. That's
to him.
very sweet.
She's like
That's
8
very
years
sweet.
old.
I love that.
She goes, "Because you're better than them."
There you go. There you
Billy
go.
Horschel's like, "Yeah, you're damn right I am."
Now, this is, again, to be fair, Billy Horschel's never won a major championship, but he's won the most major championship now.
He did win the FedEx Cup.
Okay. Is that a major championship?
$11 million.
I understand that. Is it a majar championship?
No, but it is now. Arthur
Okay.
Blank finally won a title.
That's a great point, right?
Took him a while, but Arthur
That's a
Blank
great
finally
point.
got his ring.
Do all the teams have owners?
Well, they split it up. Yes, they do. What they did is they took all the guys who invested in it and
Oh,
gave
and
them
they
a
gave them a
team,
team.
and his was
Got it.
natural, right?
Got
Like his was naturally Atlanta.
Well, there we go. That's what Drew had
So
to
there you
offer
go.
today.
Well, no, that's one
The
question.
video game golf.
That's one question.
The video game golf. Well, I don't want to spoil. You want to go ahead and do Would You Rather Wednesday? We can throw those questions in there.
Do I? I don't know.
I don't know. We could just get it out of the
How's
way.
your bracket doing?
I'm in 5th place.
What am I
apparently.
in?
What is Drew? What place is Drew?
I don't know how to
he
follow
didn't
it.
show up.
He wasn't on the first page?
Yeah,
don't know
I
how to
don't, I
follow
don't- I
boy.
didn't- he didn't stick out right away.
Oh, boy.
I did coin flips,
Okay. And,
and I don't know how I'm doing, but I did the coin flip trick.
okay. Well, we'll see how
For
that
like every
goes.
matchup, no matter
Every
what.
game,
I'm
Mount St.
looking
Mary's
for-
except for
I
the
know, I'm
one
trying
in
to see if
16 and 2 and 15.
Okay.
You just
Other than those games, I did coin flip on every game.
thought maybe that was better than. Hang on a second. I'm looking for you.
Yeah, I went to the
I'm,
bottom first. I don't see you're not on the
oh,
bottom
boy.
3, so that's good.
Oh boy. Drew Forrester tied for 49th.
Out of how many people?
65.
Okay,
Could be worse.
I'll take that. I
Could
think
be
my
worse.
Final Four's still alive.
In fact, you're tied with
With
one of
Aaron-
our betting experts.
Yeah, you're tied with Aaron Oster. So
Yeah,
it's,
well,
it's,
What's he know?
From
Um,
well, I mean, he has a
I'm,
really important job at it.
clearly not much.
I,
Circa in Las Vegas.
my Final Four is still alive,
Okay, that's all that matters.
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
really is all that matters.
and I don't even know. I don't remember who I took. So my 8 might be alive. Although I think I had
You had Duke, Auburn, Florida, and Tennessee as
in
your
the Final Four. Right.
Correct. Yeah.
I know that.
Okay, your Elite 8 was Florida. No, you had Missouri. You had
Right.
Missouri.
I knew I had a weird. Well, I didn't. The coin did.
Right,
Go ahead.
Coin. Keep going down. Tennessee and Houston, so that's still alive. You had Duke and Alabama, so that's still alive. And Auburn and Iowa State, so you have 6 of your 8.
I don't have 6 of my 8.
Right, you keep saying that, but you
coin.
went with the coin, so they are still
Well,
they are still
If
yours.
you're going to flip the coin and decide to go with the coin,
right.
you can't not go with the coin.
Well, you could. That is the option.
Why would you
that.
flip the coin?
That's up to you. You get to make those decisions.
Well,
you have autonomy.
So
here.
6 of the 8 with the coin flip is pretty good.
With a coin flip, yes. You still have 6 of your 8. That's not bad.
Okay.
That's not bad. So anyway, yes, that's there's that. I am in 5th place. Griffin informed me that
Nobody's beating our Terps.
Right? Everything's going well down there. Everything's going so well. I'll give you number 1. Would you rather Wednesday number 1?
They could win tomorrow night.
They could. They could
win. They
sure.
just got to do the obvious things. They got to do the obvious things. They have to rebound the ball well. They've got to let this team not clobber them with 3-pointers. They got to defend. They got to maybe not try to. I said 77-72 Terps, but I don't know if they wanted to get into that mid-70s range. I think they're going to be better served in the 60s. But anyway, that's me.
Would you rather number 1? I'm stunned by the responses to this, for the record. Stunned. Would you rather number 1? Would you rather Maryland makes the Final Four, result from there not guaranteed, but Kevin Willard leaves? Or they get spanked tomorrow night, but Kevin Willard stays?
Well, I don't see any reason why you would want him gone. I haven't seen anything.
Because he's dog walked us. He's embarrassing us.
And you mean by leveraging us against Villanova?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also doing the same to Villanova.
They're allowing it.
Potentially.
Yeah, I mean, they're allowing it to happen. If they really didn't want it to happen, they would take steps to make it not happen by going to him and saying, you got to keep your mouth shut. But they would. If they didn't. So they're allowing it to happen. They're allowing this.
I think that you're living in a different era of college sports. I think you're living
I'm not.
yeah.
He's an employee. You go to him and you say, hey, man.
Right, but if he really is on his way out, he does not care.
Okay, well, if he's on his way out,
right.
no problem.
Yeah,
but
you could say whatever you want to say to him.
Of course.
He's going to give you the middle finger.
That's fine. Well, then I would figure out a way to say to him, we're not having this from you if you're going to wind up staying here in Maryland. I don't know. It's not a good look on him. That said, why would you want him to go? Well, why would you want him to leave? He's been terrific in the last 2 years. He has a now it could be solved tomorrow night, and I get it. They were one shot away from everybody howling about how he can't win in the tournament. I get it. But he's a win away from taking the team as far as they've gone in 20-some years. Like, what more do you want from him? So I don't know why you would want him to leave.
Right, but you also might want to go to the Final Four.
Yeah, okay, but if you said to me, they make the Final Four, they make the Final Four and he leaves, or they don't make the Final Four and he stays, what's the difference between the Final Four and the Final 8? Like,
well,
keep him.
They wouldn't make the Final 8 in this year. They'd lose in the Sweet 16.
Right, but keep him. I just don't understand anybody's volatility around this guy. Like, everything he wanted him to do.
I don't think
I
don't think the responses are about him. I think the responses are about going to a Final Four, something that hasn't, to your point, hasn't happened in over 20 years at Maryland, and the belief that it proves to you that you can do it at Maryland, and so whoever your next coach would be could also do it at Maryland. That's the sense that I get.
I don't buy that.
I'm still surprised.
I think that's underrating the impact he's had. You've been looking. You S-canned the other guy in the middle of the season.
Well, actually, he quit.
Yeah, he didn't quit.
No, he did.
So
he quit.
They
were not going to fire him at that point.
You brought this guy in, and all you wanted him to do was make the program better. He's made the program better. Why would you get rid of him? Why would you want him gone?
They're not. You keep saying like they are going to get rid of him.
Why would you want him gone? I guess is the point to your question.
You keep saying it that way. I don't think these people are trying to get rid of Kevin Willard. It's a scenario
the question,
where they're saying if you're telling me I get a Final Four out of it, something that I haven't experienced.
If you would rather have a Final Four than keep the coach, you're a goof. There you go. Then move on to the next question. If you're someone who says I'd rather have a Final Four than keep the coach, you're a clown.
I don't know that I agree with that.
Well, then you're a
clown.
But
it's funny because
I agree with Drew, but
I might agree with the
come on, man.
I might agree with the ultimate result, but I absolutely don't agree that you're a clown because again, what's the point of this? If you keep Kevin Willard, you might never make a Final Four. Like the point of doing this is playing and winning. I get what people are saying. I'm surprised it's so strongly the other way.
North Carolina State made the Final Four last year.
They did, and they fired their coach this year.
cares?
I think that
Florida
last year
Atlantic
it meant
cares?
something. It felt real.
Oh, jeez.
When was the last time Maryland did something that felt real?
Let's move on to the next question.
This week, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, right.
and
this
this has been a thrill.
Listen,
This has been a thrill a minute
laughable.
experiencing
the
this.
guy comes in and all he does is wins.
Whenever
It's
I bring up a
horrible.
retort, his response is move on. This is
it's
what I
because
like about
because
this is Drew now.
it's-
I'm not going to think through that. I'm just going to tell you to
There isn't
move
anything
on.
to think through.
There is.
There isn't.
It is very complicated.
Oh, please.
The idea of doing this is to win.
Oh,
That's the point.
That's all they've done since he showed up.
Except if in this scenario they'd lose. They'd get Mark Turgeon
They're
made a
also
Sweet
not
16
playing
once.
S breather.
What's that?
They're also not playing.
I
Western
understand
Kentucky.
that. Mark Turgeon had the exact same scenario play out. You want him back? Like, this is the reality. You can't just try to dismiss it and say this is easy. It's not easy.
It's very easy.
It's not remotely easy. You said you would you'd
Yeah,
rather
I'd like
them
to
lose
keep,
tomorrow night?
I'd like to keep. I mean, when you put it that
Yeah.
way.
Of course you would, because you're smart.
But yeah, I think
Which I can't even
Willard.
believe I just said that.
I mean, he's done such a good job of putting. I mean, just by winning, the virtue of winning these last two games, has put himself in such a good position where it does feel like, what are we going to do if he's not back this year? It looks like you're starting from
Who
ground
are we
zero.
bringing in? Danny Manning.
I mean,
How do we
they
poach
actually
Tony
did pretty well with Danny Manning for what it's worth.
Poach Tony Skin?
I mean, but that's the,
Oh,
I,
right. Pat Scary.
like that. By the way, to me, this is the biggest argument because it's not as simple as you want it to be. The biggest argument for why you might be right is because the next guy you hire could be Mark Turgeon. That's the biggest argument.
Again?
The biggest argument. Or the next Mark Turgeon.
Oh, I was going to say, like, that would be a
like
what a triumph that would be.
let's
Welcome back. Let's welcome him back.
I mean, he did
What's
a good
Todd Bozeman doing?
he did a good job of consulting American University
What's
this year.
Todd Bozeman
Help
doing?
them get into the NCAA tournament, so he's got that going for him. But that's to me the biggest argument. This is the hilarious part is it's 100-0 in the responses the other way. It's 100-0, which is wild to me.
In what way? What do you mean?
Everybody's going the other way. Final Four, and I think the question
And
is
let the coach
laughable.
go?
Yep,
Well, the people are crazy.
it's
Idiots.
I mean. I'm going to disagree with idiots, but I disagree. I think it's
mean-
nuts that it just feels like
Yeah.
groupthink at the moment. A couple people see responses, and then they're like, yeah, that's it. That's the way that it goes. Number 2, would you rather, first half of the season? Felix Bautista is right back to his 2023 form.
Yes.
But
Ooh.
Adley Rutschman still looks like the guy that we saw in the second half of last year.
Okay.
Or,
So they're geniuses for not
6'1",
extending.
Or-
6'1", 235, you mean?
yeah. Yes, that's what I mean. Or Adley Rutschman returns to an MVP caliber form, but Felix Bautista is not the same guy.
Oh, 1 gazillion% you would take Rutschman returning to MVP form. A gazillion. Every time. He plays 150 days a year. Every time. The other dude gets in 50 days a year for about an hour.
Right, and obviously it didn't hurt it at all last year when the Orioles didn't have a closer. They were just fine without having.
I mean, they
They
won
were
90
fine.
games. Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
fine. They
Yeah.
made the. They
Yeah.
certainly
That was
didn't
without.
lose.
That was without
Yeah.
Adley.
They
It was essentially
certainly
without
didn't
Adley
lose in
and
the playoffs
Felix.
because they didn't have a closer.
Yeah, I mean, right. I
But
get
come
it.
on.
I get it. Everything was just fine. As we all
Everything
said.
was okay.
As we all said, life is good here. We've got
How many-
Craig
how-
Kimbrell.
well, maybe that
life,
wasn't the
life
right
is
guy.
good.
But the answer to this is obviously Rutschman. Plays 150 days a year. And if he doesn't play, who's coming in for him? You, Lieutenant Weinberg?
Gary Sanchez. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you've seen.
Might as well be Lieutenant
And
Weinberg.
they got a guy coming.
Yeah, they sure do. All right.
They do. They've got another guy coming behind him.
I hate that I'm going to continue to agree with Drew, but yeah, I mean, I think it's for sure Adley, and because they did it last year without
Someone
Felix,
was
and yeah, it sucked not having Felix, but you know they did it last year without Felix Bautista, and I don't know. I mean, like what's
they
the
didn't-
long
they didn't
term
do
of a
it last
closer
year.
anyway?
They weren't.
And it feels like of this group that's here, Adley is the most likely that they have a chance at extending and keeping around, longer term.
And you got
I have no feelings towards that
Column
whatsoever.
Bay.
Yeah, sure. You don't. By the way,
Where'd he go? Miami?
You let him go.
I think he went back to
Where'd he go?
Minnesota, didn't he?
I don't remember.
Or
I
Chicago?
genuinely
I don't know.
don't
I
remember
forget
where
where
he
Miami?
ended up.
Minnesota?
Danny.
We'll get him back. He'll be back here at the deadline.
You think that's where that's
Well,
gonna
sure.
that's gonna work out? Yeah, he went back. He went to Minnesota. You're right. How about that? That's where Danny Coulomb ended up. Yeah, you enjoy that.
Okay. Well,
Look,
you're over 2 today, and it's your show. That's the funniest part.
it's hilarious. Hilarious. Again, with the funny part being, I actually ultimately agreed with
It's your show.
his decision on
and
the
you're
first
0 for
one,
2.
but somehow I'm 0 for 2. So he's actually wrong then, I guess. On the first one, I'm not really sure how
No,
this
your
all
process
works
was
out.
wrong. That's
Not really sure how this all has worked out today. More people agree with you on this one. More people do. More people agree with you. Again, it continues to be 100-0 on the other one, which is
Because
hilarious.
people understand closers are like running
No.
backs.
No, I'm not. It's not 100-0 on this one. It's still 100-0 on the first one.
Oh.
Everyone has disagreed with you. But in fairness, they're also disagreeing with me.
And in fairness, they're goofs.
Keep going back to that. That's all you have.
People don't know sports.
Number 3, would you rather? A marketing company comes to you and says, how would you like a free $100 a week?
sweet.
Okay.
All you got to do
$5,000.
is wear this hat everywhere you go, including once a week you got to show up at a church. Now, that's not going to be a problem for you.
But you can't wear it
do
inside.
that. You do that? Well, I mean, there's lots of churches where you can. Plenty of
Well,
churches
men
where you can
can't.
wear. The overwhelming majority of churches that I know, maybe not in the Catholic faith,
Yeah.
maybe
Catholic
not in
church,
that
you're not wearing a
particular
hat
faith.
Inside
in the most of the churches that I
clown.
know, you can wear hats.
Okay.
And so you have to go to one of those then because you
Okay.
got to wear the hat to church.
All right.
The hat will have no words on it,
Okay. I'm in so far.
just a logo.
So far, I'm in.
It will be the logo for the Chesapeake Oyster Catchers.
Don't know who they are, but
Oh, you're not familiar?
softball team.
No, they're the alternate team
Alter
name.
Ego, is that what they
Yeah,
say?
alter ego for the Chesapeake Bay Sox for a few.
Oh,
games
right. They
this
changed
year.
their name, right?
Well, they're only doing it for a few games. They're going to call themselves the Chesapeake Oyster Catchers. And
Okay.
and
I
here's
like the theme.
here's their logo.
Oh. Oh, my Lord.
You tell me.
100%.
Yeah.
I'll wear that every day.
You're going you're going
For $5,200.
you're going to church wearing the Chesapeake
fi-
Oyster Catchers.
Sure. For $5,200.
For a hat. You have to wear it everywhere. Everywhere you go.
Get me 2 of them
No,
in case
if-
one wears out.
If someone asks,
Yes.
you cannot explain it to them.
I don't have to explain it to them. It's a oyster in a
Right,
baseball
that's
glove.
a great point. That's exactly
Give me my
everybody
$5,200.
can see that.
In
It's
fact,
an oyster in a
give me
baseball glove.
$2,600.
It's an oyster
And
in
I'll
a
donate
baseball
$2,600 to the Oyster Foundation.
glove. The Oyster Foundation. You're gonna go that route too.
Are they
You're-
really using that?
Or
did that get
there's some discrepancy
did
about
that
whether
get
or not.
nixed?
They apparently have.
How did it get published?
They were very proud of it. They're very
Let me look
excited
at it
about.
again real quick. I mean, I know what it resembles, but let me
You want
let me
to go?
just
You want to
look
go
at
take
it.
a look and
let me just.
see? You want to?
Here's what I would say. In all fairness, you need the stitching on the baseball to be a little more prevalent, so you know
yeah,
it's you know it's a baseball.
it's a fair point. It doesn't actually.
You see that it looks like it's a baseball, but they've
I just realized I showed it on the YouTube. I'm afraid we're gonna be taken down now.
For decency standards.
well, I'll wear it
You're gonna wear it to church.
100%.
You're wearing the
For
Chesapeake
$5,200,
Oyster.
and is it tax free?
Well, I don't think anything's tax free.
Well, I'm not
Under
claiming
6,000. So yeah, I think so.
I'm
No.
not claiming it on
No.
my taxes.
I don't think that's the way that it works.
I'll
I'm pretty
take it.
Sure, they got to take it out. I think that's. The
I'm
way
not
that
going to do it if it's $5,200 and they're
All right,
taking
$5,200 cash.
27%. Yeah,
No.
$5,200 cash. I'll do it.
No, I didn't say $5,200 cash. I didn't say that.
Well, I'm not doing it if you're taxing it.
All right, there you go. Drew's out
I'm in.
over the taxes.
I'm not doing it. I'm not letting the government.
Griffin,
I'll do it
they're
actually.
taking everything else, Drew.
Morons. Well, we're getting it fixed though.
Yeah, how's
We're
that
making it-
going?
Haven't you heard?
They're making it great
We're
again.
making-
I saw you wearing your red hat in
We're
here.
making
today.
it great
I thought-
again.
I know you were excited.
47, baby.
All right. Everything's changing now. Everything's changing now.
We got
I'll
the
wear
rest
the
of these
t-shirt,
countries.
too.
We got the rest of these countries on their toes.
Yeah, yeah.
We do. We're flexing our muscle.
Flexing.
I'm not sure which one.
Right.
Although, did you see Tiger? Speaking of flexing your muscle,
He's very excited. Very excited
Love is
about
in the air.
Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife. or
love is in
whatever.
the air. Tiger said.
He said that, but respect my privacy. here's all
There's a
these
picture of me and this blonde.
Right.
and
right laying on a hammock, but
taken care
respect
of.
my privacy.
Respect our privacy of both families.
God.
Two of the most
yeah,
two of the most
prominent-
noteworthy people in the
Yeah,
world.
Yeah.
But respect our privacy.
go.
While I post a picture of me laying on a hammock with her.
There you go. He's gonna I bet that'll go
What a
well.
moron.
I bet that'll go well.
Lord.
Get your responses in for Would You Rather Wednesday at Glenn Clark Radio on Facebook, Twitter, or Blue Sky, and somebody is going to win a $30
What's
gift
Blue
card.
Sky?
It's a new social media that people are using, so we're on there. And
What?
hey, man, you got to go where the people are. You got to keep moving it around.
Well, in
Get your
case, that'd be
responses
the
in.
bar.
No, that's the problem. I don't know if you've talked to any of your friends in the alcohol business, but the kids don't go to the bars anymore.
They don't.
They're a little bit nervous about it. They stay home and play video games. It's been a bit. Yeah.
You see Verdansk is coming back?
Who?
Verdansk.
I don't know
It's
what.
the old Call of Duty Warzone
There
map.
you go. See, as soon as I brought up
I
video
may have to take a
games,
sabbatical. I'm
the
not
young
sure.
person in the room got very excited. But if we said we can go to the bars on Monday before the baseball game, he'd say, I'm good. I'd rather play MLB The Show for a little while if
Let's
that's
see,
a
Verdansk
possibility.
won't be back yet.
Sky.
He's never heard of Blue Sky.
I've never heard of it. What do you do with it? Is it
It's-
like Twitter?
It's like Twitter, yes. It's just another social media app. There's
Oh,
been
it's the
60
exact
of
same
them.
thing.
More or less.
Well, it's the exact same thing.
More or less. It's like, what was the one? Threads. But now if you post something on Facebook, it goes to Threads, so we don't have to worry about that.
Right.
So, yes, I guess if you respond
Well,
on
what's
Threads.
better about this than Twitter? Why this? Less bots?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Far less bots.
Yeah.
Okay, until they discover Blue Sky. and
More
then
or
it'll
less,
be all
yes.
bots. Right.
Yes, and then then half the people will migrate somewhere else until we get to a point where there's no social media that
I thought there
everybody.
was something called Truth Social.
I think that I don't know if that's still around or not.
I
I,
think
don't know how that's
No, they're
doing.
still in the up. Yeah.
So do they know they're competing against each other? Like, have they had that conversation?
Truth Social.
It's going so well for
I love
the
it.
leaders of our country.
I love it.
Just texting out who we're going to go to war with.
President,
Just sending
President
out.
Trump and Vice President Musk.
Hey,
Do they have their
yeah,
own?
right.
Does Vice President Musk?
Wait. What makes you think that's the order? What
no
makes you
doubt.
think that's the?
No doubt. I should have
That's-
reversed them.
Yeah, right.
Right. Director of Foreign Affairs Trump.
Right, and
President Musk.
100%.
No doubt.
God, man. All right.
It's nothing if it ain't funny.
Okay, so where are you actually at with the Willard stuff?
I mean, look, this is big business, and you're talking about in his lifetime. How old is Kevin Willard? 48.
Sounds right, but I'll double check.
This is
49.
this is.
He'll be 50 in
I
a
told
couple
you I
of
met
weeks.
him once, right at the Plainfield member guest.
You did not.
I'll
But-
tell you about it off the air.
Okay.
It's not really germane to anything anyway. It's just a funny story about him personally. This is his Juan Soto moment. He's taken a program that I wouldn't say Maryland was moribund when he took it over, but they were really a fractured, unraveling program when he got the job. And he left the Marlins and went to the Cubs, and this is his chance to maybe go work for the Yankees. In his mind, I don't know that I agree with that. I think Villanova and Maryland are very, very similar programs. I understand all the dynamics of the NIL stuff and how Villanova might have a lot more money to hand over to basketball players than Maryland, because Maryland has to give so much to the 4 football players on the team that are
the
good.
common belief is that they
But-
have a few more million.
Okay.
To,
So in this is going to sound like I'm crashing on the new age order here of the way college sports is, and maybe I am, but you've done this to yourselves now. Now you're paying these. Now it's just like an NFL team without a contract. So
well, except the
team-
NFL has a hard salary cap.
Right, but I mean, or baseball then. But now what you've done is you've now said the teams with the most money, inevitably, because of the way the transfer portal works, which is also a joke, the teams with the most money are inevitably going to be able to get the best players. It's just how it's going to work. So in his mind, this is my chance to parlay what I've done at Maryland into one of two things. Either he's already got enough money for his
Yeah, the
kids.
consensus is this really is not about his salary.
No.
Like
It's not.
He
It's
wants more, but it
isn't
it's
about his
somewhat
salary.
negligible,
It's
yeah.
more about the entire package of
Correct.
Kevin Willard, the basketball coach. Will he get more money at Villanova? Yeah, probably. Will he have a smidgen more power? Maybe. Will he have more money at his disposal to go get better basketball players? Sure. So is the whole thing it is very much like Juan Soto. He can just stay with the Yankees, and he's fine. But the Dodgers want him, and he knows the Dodgers have more money to pay for basketball players. Juan Soto could have stayed with the Yankees and made $700 million. Instead, he went to the Mets and made $750 or whatever the number.
And they also gave him a suite for his family.
Whatever.
Don't forget,
right.
It's very important.
But that's his situation. It really isn't that much different. The problem is that this is a new frontier for college basketball, and these coaches who heretofore used to have to cheat underground don't have to do that anymore, and it's easy now. Oh, Maryland offered you $1.4 million? No problem. We got $1.75. Just come play here.
You say it's easy unless you spend the $1.75 on the wrong player.
Well, okay, but there aren't. I mean, if you're talking about a kid getting $1.4 million, let's just use Derek Queen. He's not the right example, but if Derek Queen were sticking around, the evidence is already in on Derek Queen.
Right, but that's the problem. The problem is those players don't stick around.
Okay, but there are kids that are going to be transferring.
Kansas spent a bunch of money to get a kid who ended up from Michigan.
Who
ended up being dreadful.
Right.
Was wasted money. They just threw it away on a guy that was an All-American in college.
Okay, but that's an outlier.
I don't know that it's
an outlier.
You keep saying that.
It is.
I don't know that that's an outlier.
It's an outlier.
First of all, those players typically don't stick around in college. Those players typically go to it was a very unique circumstance that a guy like that was even available because the NBA doesn't want bigs anymore, those types of bigs. Right. They have no interest in a donkey in the middle. You need to be more of a Derek Queen type, someone who can dribble the ball, and he couldn't. And so it's very rare that even a player like that comes available. So this is way more. I'm okay with everything you said except that it's to me the exact same job. You've got to figure out who the players are that are actually good and are going to help you.
Okay.
The only difference is now they're getting paid. That's it.
Okay. I think it's easier than you're giving it credit for. But anyway.
What's easier about it?
Because you already know who can play basketball and who can't.
You know who can play basketball at Belmont. You have no idea if that guy can play at Maryland. That's what you're getting in the transfer portal, is who was good last year at Quinnipiac.
Well, these kids he picked up this year.
It worked out for those kids. And it didn't. They also picked up a kid from Loyola Marymount who hasn't played a minute. Like, it doesn't – the notion that it's just
but what are they
easy.
giving him?
They're giving him real money.
Well, what's that mean to you?
I don't have the salaries for everybody in front of me.
But what do you
think
I know
that
is?
It's in six figures.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can't fart without getting six figures.
I understand that.
Anyway, this is his one chance to do I think it was a good look for him to go on that rant last week in Seattle and kind of badmouth the athletic director and, kind of effectively say, without saying it, I told Maryland it's him or me. Like, do I think that's a good look for Kevin Willard? No. But it's the landscape of where they are. You're not talking about $450,000 basketball job that you're trying to parlay into $700,000. You're talking about generational wealth, and his agent, I'm sure, is saying to him, one way or the other next year, you're getting $40 million from someone for the next 8 years or 7 years or whatever the math comes out to. We're getting you $40 million. Are you willing to move to Philadelphia to get $40 million? Are you willing to move to Philadelphia to get whatever the number is, $60 million in NIL money? Are you willing to move to Philadelphia to change your life? And, maybe this is the last stop for you. Like, this could be it. Are you willing to go to Philadelphia for the last 16, 18 years of your career, as long as you win? And I don't even know what other jobs, high-level basketball job would be available. Duke. I mean, are you willing? If you're his agent, if I'm his agent, I'm calling him and saying, we're getting $40 million from someone. Maryland's either going to give it to you or Villanova's going to give it to you. And on the surface, without me using it for you or against you, tell me which one you really want to go to. Where do you really want to be? Do you just want me to hold Maryland up for ransom? Because if so, you should go out there to Seattle and run your mouth a little bit. But if not, I'll do the work for you. Let me call Maryland. So I don't see any reason. I get it. Maybe geographically it's a better fit for him. For all we know, his wife is telling him the same thing Ryan Odom's wife told him. When Ryan Odom left here and went to Utah, his wife said, I want you to make me a promise, and in 10 years, we'll be back east. And he did. So maybe Kevin Willard's wife said the same thing to him. Hey, I want you to make me a promise that within 10 years, we're going to be back up here in the New Jersey, Philadelphia area, where I'm from and where blah, blah, blah. Like,
it seems very unlikely that
I don't know.
That's what it's about. But
maybe
if it was
that's
St. John's, it might be different. He's from New York. Like, I get
right,
where
but
that would be.
maybe all I'm saying is there are other pressing things when you already have the money. There are other pressing things besides just I want to go somewhere and coach. He's doing fine at Maryland. He's got no reason to leave Maryland.
But the
They're
job,
going to pour a bunch of money into the program.
The job appears to be easier at Villanova. This is being all of this.
What job?
Being the head coach.
And
because you have more money to spend.
Wow, I said that earlier.
That's it. That's what this really appears to come down to.
Okay.
Is in one scenario you have more
and
money.
I think they are more predisposed to winning in that conference than he is in winning in the Big Ten.
If you're only judging it by the conference, if you're only judging success by can you win in the conference, then yes, it's an easier conference to win by the sheer nature of there's only a few teams that are really like.
I just don't see what's in it for Kevin Willard to leave.
Making the job easier.
You're presupposing that he wants that.
That's all of the reporting is suggesting that's the reason.
I do
why
think
this
the money matters. Money matter meaning, I do think when Villanova says to him, "Here's the whole package we're giving you. We're giving you whatever. We're giving you $35 million for the next 6 years. Got it. All right, I checked that.
The salary part he can get at Maryland. Whatever the salary is,
I'm
that they're
saying, if
offering
Villanova says to
he
him,
can get that at Maryland.
He's not leaving Maryland and going to Villanova if the money's not the same or better.
I understand that, but Maryland would match that. If it's just about
right,
salary,
but Villanova's not
just
saying
match
to him, "Look, we can only give you 35. We can only give you 30 million." They're not doing that. They're going to say to him, "We're going to give you X amount. It's a raise over what you're getting now. We're going to commit to you whatever the number is. I don't even know what they pay these goofs, but we're going to give you $25 million to spend on basketball players." Got it.
It's not that.
Whatever it is.
It's definitely not $25 million.
$50 million. Whatever.
No, it's not even close.
$10 million. Whatever it is.
It's not even that.
Whatever the amount of money is.
But that's the difference appears to be somewhere in the neighborhood of Maryland saying $4.5 million, and Villanova might be more like $8 million, which is
okay. So that's 3 more basketball players at $1.5 million a year.
Yes, it's real. It makes the job easier.
That's what I've been saying to you.
Well, no, it makes the uniqueness between Villanova and Maryland easier, not easier than 6 years ago.
It's on you to go use your judgment to get. Either way, you have to use your judgment to spend money on basketball players.
Correct.
It doesn't matter if it's at Villanova or Maryland. You still have to use your judgment, your acumen, to get better basketball players. And if I have $10 million to spend and you have $5 million to spend, I'm beating you.
Presumably,
I am.
That hasn't been the case. There's been plenty of places where they spent boatloads of money on athletes and they don't have anything to show for it.
Certainly in college football, you would say. Now, again, this is a very early sample size because they've only been paying these kids above board for 3 years.
Yeah, we've only known that.
But in the old days, when they were cheating, Alabama won every year because they cheated better than everybody else.
Well. Yeah, they still spent the same amount of money, but they were better at finding the talent and coaching the talent and developing the talent.
Well,
it wasn't sheerly that they were spending more. Nebraska was spending plenty of money on football players.
I don't know about that.
I
think
know
Alabama was paying more than everybody.
They were paying a lot. Nobody's debating that. They were paying a boatload, but the notion that it was something not that there are places where football is Bible, and Nebraska, for example, is one of them, and they paid lots and lots and lots of money.
They beat Maryland,
and this year Maryland will spend the money too. That's the issue.
Maryland charges the football players. They charge them money. Okay, you want to come play football here? It's $130,000. And the kids are like, okay, sure.
Penn State offered me $100.
Penn State said they'd give me $100. Well, that's not how we work here.
The way it works
we
here,
got we're doing things a new way.
Yeah. You gotta really love it. We want the people that really care.
You haven't heard of Coach Loxley's new way?
Yeah, that's the way that it goes. This is my issue is I don't.
He's not going anywhere, by the way.
Because
he's going to stay at Maryland.
Why?
Because Drew said so.
I mean, this is what.
There's no reason for him to leave.
But the reason to leave is because the job is easier.
He's not leaving.
We're just saying things.
I'd be very disappointed in him if he left.
Why? Why would you care? Besides the fact that you're a P1 fan.
No,
now.
I don't care, really. Who
Why would
we
you
get? Is the
Why would
question.
you? I have no
Juan
idea.
Dixon?
Yeah, I think Juan. I don't think it's going to work out with Juan.
Juan's applying.
I'm sure he's going to make
Juan
a
applied
call.
over at Coward Hall.
I am
he's
aware. I think he's
applying.
going to make a call. I have no doubt about that.
Right.
But I don't think it's going to work out for Juan to
Big
get
jump
the
for
job.
Dwayne Simpkins. Yeah.
God, I'll never forget when Gary retired, and I'm not going to say who it was, but one of the local TV reporters, like within a couple of minutes, sent out a tweet that said, "I just talked to Jimmy Patsos. He told me he's not a candidate," and I just wanted to say,
Well, I said that last week when all the Masters invitations went out.
right?
And I said, these son of
I
a
just want
bitches,
you. I just want you guys to know
I didn't get invited.
I didn't get the invite this year. Oh my God! It was the funniest thing
Right.
I had ever read on. Like, just spoke to Jimmy Patsos. He let me know he's not a candidate.
They didn't call him.
No,
Wow.
no.
What a shock.
And I love Jimmy. Everybody knows I love Jimmy. God love him.
Speaking
But-
of coaches, how's Charlie Toomey doing?
It's been tough. It's been a tough season.
I look at the scores every Saturday.
Why?
They lose by 1 goal every Saturday.
They've lost a lot of by one goal. They've lost
Every-
4 of 8 games by 1 goal. It's a very weird season over at
Have they won a
Maryland.
conference game?
They haven't won a game.
Well,
They're
never
0
mind then.
They're
Let's
0
move on to another
Yeah.
subject.
What else?
Cow.
What else you got for today?
What other good news you got?
What else you want to bring up today?
Holy cow. And that was
God.
Maryland's first loss, like on Saturday.
That was Maryland's first
Was
loss.
that
to
a
Michigan.
shock?
It would be,
Michigan-
except that oddly Michigan's now won 3 straight against Maryland. For whatever reason, Michigan
Yeah,
just
they
seems
beat
to
them in the Big
have.
Ten tournament.
They
or
just
something.
seem to have Maryland's number. It's a very strange thing.
Okay.
The way that works. Anything else? Do you have anything else that you wanted to get to? Just want to pull out your toothpick and
No. We're talking about Kevin Willard. I
you're
like
doing
it.
the
I like
Scott
talking
Hall
about-
thing.
I like
Doing the-
Razor Ramon.
yeah,
I like it. I mean,
say hello to the bad guy.
I don't think he's leaving.
Although
Although I will say, Villanova's they're down to their last
every day.
strike.
This is what I keep every
It's
day
like
that
the Aaron
goes.
Rodgers thing. Is
every
it more
day
apparent
that-
than ever he's going to Pittsburgh now?
If Pittsburgh wants him,
Well, they don't have a quarterback.
I understand that. But they won't have a quarterback if Aaron Rodgers goes
Well,
there.
they have Mason Rudolph.
That's not going to solve their quarter. We're pretending like that's going to solve
Okay,
their
but
quarter.
Aaron Rodgers is
It's
better
it's
than-
like somebody saying
Wait.
What?
Aaron Rodgers is better than Mason Rudolph.
that's not a bar. Like if the bar
It
was
is for the
Mason Rudolph,
Steelers.
if the bar was Mason Rudolph, then every team in the NFL has a quarterback.
How about Jameis Winston signing with the Giants, buying a new house on Long Island, telling everybody, "I can't wait. I'm going to run this town."
No,
like
I
Jay-Z
don't.
did.
I don't think any. I
And
don't
then
think
the
there's
next
any
day
world where
they
Jameis
signed
Winston
Russell-
did
The
that.
next
I don't
day,
think there's any
they
chance
signed
in
Russell
hell.
Wilson.
Right, but they don't have a. They have 2, and they still don't have a quarterback.
Hey, you watch what you say about Jameis Winston.
Sure.
He's a good man.
By the way, there was nothing funnier than I don't remember who the account was, but one of the Giants, podcast accounts tweeted out. Now the Giants have to draft Travis Hunter so that we have someone that can tackle after Jameis Winston throws the interception.
That's pretty funny.
So that's
I'm
quite
Myles Garrett.
that's quite good.
What were we talking about?
I don't know. We'll take a break when we come back in.
Well, hold on. Apparently, P. Dukes on the YouTube chat said Willard is gone. So
Oh, is that what P. Dukes said?
yeah, P.
Oh.
Dukes. P. Dukes said
Who's
Willard
he?
is gone. I don't know, but I mean, he said he's
I mean,
gone.
You
so
said he's not.
I think.
Oh wow!
That's
Like-
that's disappointing.
Announcement coming out now.
No, I'm
Ovechkin
saying I don't
6
think there's
goals.
anything
Is he
to
gonna do it
that.
or not?
What do you mean? Is he going to do it at all or
No,
this
this year.
season?
6 goals.
I don't know how many
games are
games.
left?
How many
Read off
games
their
are left?
schedule real quick, Griff.
No,
All right,
no,
all
we're
right.
no, we're not
No,
doing
no,
that.
no,
We're
no.
absolutely not doing that.
What?
No. We have the show will go to 2 p.m. today if we do that crap. We're not doing it. When we come back in, we'll do
I just
something
wanna know if he's
important.
getting it.
You can look on your phone. Like I'm just
Take
it's
it easy.
like my God, it would be like talking about video
Minnesota
games. Stop.
tomorrow.
We're not doing it. When we come back in.
This is a sports topic.
Yeah, sure. And they can do that wherever they want to do that. When we come back in,
11 games
we will
Weirdo.
okay. We'll come back in. We'll get to something that matters.
The Masters.
NBA corner when we come back in
Oh,
with
shit.
our guy. Yeah,
All right,
yeah, there it is.
We'll get on that road.
There it is. Drew Forrester, an NBA corner next on Glenn Clark Radio.
Okay.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at driveeasymd.com.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their amazingly scrumptious, fat, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. Every season is crab season at Costas, so make your plans now by calling 410-477-1975 and reserve your taste of heaven. Sit back, crack some crabs, and watch the Ravens chase down another title on Costas' 15 TVs. On Monday nights, Costas offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30, and there are nightly specials Monday through Friday. So head on down to the Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at costasinn.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Glenn Clark and I sit down for a Q&A with Orioles owner David Rubenstein, discussing what he learned from his first year as owner, his goals both on and off the field, and his involvement in baseball decisions. Also inside, Brooks DeBose profiles new Oriole Tyler O'Neill, and we meet college lacrosse players from around the state. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the O's, Ravens, and Terps.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right. I was just making a joke. Apparently, our friend Santi Aldama and Desmond Bain got into it on the bench, and I said, well, I hope the UConn SID didn't see that video. So, yeah, if you missed the story this weekend, after the UConn-Florida game that was Saturday, right? That wasn't Sunday. That was Sunday.
That was Sunday. That was Sunday. That was like the early game Sunday.
All right, I believe you.
Yeah,
So-
UConn could have beat him.
Absolutely
Should've beat
could have. 100%.
Could have, should have, would have beat him.
So after the UConn-Florida game, the game's being played in Raleigh. Dan Hurley goes back to the locker room, and like Dan Hurley would do, he's screaming like a maniac. The surprising part, imagine the controversy if you got video of Dan Hurley coming off the floor and he was just acting like a normal person. That would be controversial. Dan Hurley screaming and dropping expletives.
Here's Dan Hurley after the loss. It's just him walking to the locker
right? And they'd be like, what the hell happened to this guy?
What's interesting about him is I wonder this a lot. Like, did you see the Tom Izzo clip from yesterday? Did you see the Tom Izzo clip about the portal?
I think I saw it going around. I don't remember what he said.
You should pull it up real quick because it'll dovetail nicely into what I'm about to say. I often wonder. Now I'm coaching a high school golf team. Nothing at all like coaching. I'm not going to be a Jimmy Patsos. It's nothing like coaching UConn basketball. I get that, but I constantly ask myself, in any situation at all where the spotlight is kind of on me.
You can pull it up if you want, Griffin. Pull it up.
Tom Izzo.
You got it? Okay.
I can't find a short one.
It's a minute and a half.
It's like 2 minutes long.
Yeah. I constantly ask myself, when there's a scenario where I'm in the spotlight, whether or not it's something going on with an opposing coach or a parent of another team doing something, like anytime I'm in that situation, I always say to myself, how are my players going to look at me when I do whatever I'm going to do, right? Whatever it is, whether or not it's confront this coach or some parent says something to me, I always ask myself that. What will my players think of me? What do Hurley's players think of him? when he acts the way he acts? And does he not care? Does he somehow think it's benefiting them? And then you hear this from Izzo, so you should play this. This was a question asked to Tom Izzo about the transfer portal being open in March Madness. And this is what he said. It's kind of remarkable, I think.
My team's done has been incredible. And I'm not ready to move on. So, Judd, I've followed what you said. You know, I'm going to worry today about the guys I got in this program that have done an incredible job this year, and that's it. And if that costs me later, so be it. But Tom Izzo isn't cheating the people that he has that have been loyal to him for this chaos that is going on out there. Is that cool? You got enough? No, because you don't understand. When I came back Sunday night, that was it. There was nothing on my mind but giving these guys a chance to win one more game, get to Elite Eight, and one more game, and have a memory that'll last their entire life, their kids' life, and their grandkids' life, because that's what it is.
That's fine. So the difference now, I understand. The difference was Hurley's reaction when the game was over, right? His team had just lost, and his reaction versus that, which is a little bit more maybe premeditated. He probably
it's also,
sensed.
with respect, and I think it's a fine answer, but with respect, he's also lying. Tom Izzo is working the portal. I promise you. It might not be him doing it, but it might be like. But the idea that Michigan State is not well aware of.
But he might not be.
Yeah,
right. Might be saying to one of his assistant coaches, "You handle this."
Yeah,
right. But I wonder, like when I listen to Hurley, and I pay attention to him. He's a coach. I often wonder, like, do you really think your players like this? This, you stomping around and yelling and screaming and jumping up and down, and everyone's out to get UConn. And, like, do you think your player? How does it make? What does it do for your players?
You say that for some guys that it resonates with them. Like this is it's a difficult thing, right?
Maybe.
Because it's funny. I brought up Dan Hurley in comparison to Gary Williams.
He's a nutcase.
I brought up Dan Hurley, and I agree with that. But I brought him up in comparison to Gary Williams in the past, and I've said, look, for some guys, that stuff worked. For Juan Dixon, the relationship where Gary would say something and Juan could turn around and say, "Go F yourself," and they could just have at it with each other, resonated and worked to the point where Juan Dixon, an unheralded recruit, became one of the best players in America.
He was at Coward Hall.
I'm very aware of that.
And
no one wanted him.
Right.
No one
Coward
at all
Hall did.
Thank you. They did. You're right. That part is true. But that relationship worked, and it worked with Gravis, and it worked with a lot of other. Dwayne Simpkins was talking to us about it. Like, it worked for him. He was.
I don't think it worked with Diamond Stone.
Well, Gary was not Diamond Stone's coach. So, other than that.
That's why I said it didn't work with
yeah,
Diamond
you're
Stone.
right. It's a great point. It did not work.
Told you.
100%. You nailed that one. You
Diamond
can't get
Stone.
anything past this guy.
Didn't work with Mike Jones.
Well, I mean, you say that. The relationship might have worked.
Remember he got mad at me? Remember Gary got mad at me?
Gary, I was just having a conversation with Gary
So
about
what do you have against Mike Jones?
Yeah.
I said I don't have anything against him, Coach. I just asked you if you were disappointed with his defensive play.
Yeah. Well, he didn't do it.
He said, "What do you have? What do you have against?"
He opted out.
He goes,
of playing
he
defense.
goes, "What do you have against Mike Jones?"
Right.
I said, "I don't have anything against him."
Right. Just he was not. It wasn't much
Jerk.
for him. Wasn't much for him. Look, Dan Hurley, doesn't do any. It drives me nuts, right? But for some guys, that stuff does resonate. They like a psychopath. They feed off of it. We'll all be psychopaths. And I don't know. I guarantee it worked with Cam Spencer because I know Cam Spencer. Cam Spencer's a psycho. I guarantee that he got everything that he could out of Cam Spencer because they were both psychopaths.
Okay.
There's no doubt in my mind that that's the case. But to the point, does it work with everyone? No, I don't think it works with everyone. And this scene the other day is petulant. I mean, it's what it is. It's petulant. I can't believe my team lost a game. So instead of it being, it can't be my fault. It can't be it. I've got to find someone else to blame.
Right.
They effed us. I hope they don't F you like they effed because I've got to be petulant.
Right. Well, I mean,
clearly we weren't the problem.
Right. It's UConn basketball.
Right. We're the most important thing on the face of the planet.
We're not losing. Right.
So this reporter who works for a Charlotte TV station named Joey Ellis just happens to be filming. having no idea. He certainly doesn't know that Dan Hurley's going to go on an expletive-laden rant. Although I get it, like if you're around Dan Hurley,
He likely is.
Yeah, like there's a chance.
He likely is.
So he's just filming, and he films Dan Hurley leaving the court because during the NCAA tournament, there's more access than there is. I was talking about this with Griffin, that like when you're down at the Maryland game the other day, you're going to see it's not going to look the same as it normally does for a game because the NCAA makes you take out seats and put in rows for media to be courtside. You get more access. You gotta use your Powerade cups, but you get more access during the NCAA tournament. You're allowed to go into the locker room, which most schools don't allow you to do anymore. There is far more access for the media during the NCAA tournament. So he takes out his phone, he starts recording, he gets this video of Dan Hurley going on this expletive-laden rant. Are you trying to share it? Is that what it is?
Do you want me to play it, or-
By all means, go right ahead. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we should have reminded everybody there was adult content here. Hopefully you're not. Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't. He's screaming. He's acting like a maniac. He's being very Dan Hurley. The SID at UConn is named Bobby Mullen, and Bobby Mullen sees this video making the rounds on Twitter,
Blue Sky.
and reaches out to Joey Ellis, the reporter,
So he sends him a message.
and says, if you don't take the clip down, I'll ruin your life. Which is unbelievable, except that every one of us in this business, has dealt with a Bobby Mullen. Every one of us. Now, the guy, because he's as deranged and probably working around Danny Hurley has had an impact on him, followed up by sending a tweet himself saying, "Ha, SID yells at reporter, more at 11." Clearly in another planet of how this works. And I've told the story before. There was an SID at Maryland who once attempted to call every person in this company to get me fired because I had the audacity to write a column about why Adrian Branch's jersey isn't in the rafters. This is a straight shoot.
This company here, you mean?
This company
Tried to get you fired.
Then SID at Maryland. He's no longer there. An SID at Maryland.
Why would Dustin have called?
It wasn't Dustin. He's still there. I'm not going to say who it was.
No, you don't have to. John wouldn't approve anyway.
Thank you.
It's funny because I sent the same email.
It's really weird, right? Called every person they could in this company.
Well, what did you say
to get me
that
fired?
warranted that?
Nothing. I was a shit stirrer. Quote.
Because you have an opinion that Adrian Branch's jersey should be in the rafters?
That wasn't even what I wanted to know why. Why isn't Adrian Branch's? Is there a story? Is there something I don't know? Is there a reason why Adrian Branch's jersey wouldn't be in the rafters? Because it comes up every time Adrian Branch is back. You see something about, Adrian. This person just surpassed Adrian
Same
Branch.
thing happened to me with speaking of the blast. How weird is that? I just was going to say.
He's a good man. All right.
Hey, Coops, let me call you back in a little while.
That's
All right, bye.
great, Kenny Cooper. How about that?
I had the same thing. I think I told you this. I had the same thing happen to me with the blast and the Scott Manning thing in the Hall of Fame. And
But it wasn't.
They took my vote away.
It wasn't.
They took my vote away.
But that came from higher up, didn't it?
Well, no, I'm saying they.
Yeah.
No, it came from all the way at the top. They took
Yeah,
my
that's what I'm
vote
saying.
away.
That's what I thought.
Because I wrote on my ballot to Amy Keller.
Right.
If you guys aren't going to put Scott Manning in the Hall of Fame, you should close it down.
Right, but Amy didn't do that. My point is, it wasn't her.
Right.
At Maryland,
Well, she did probably say something to the owner.
she might have mentioned it, yes, but she isn't the
But
one
that's
that.
okay. I mean,
What
I
I'm
don't
saying,
even care. Like Scott Manning
Right.
should be in the Blast Hall of Fame.
I understand everything you're saying.
End of the story.
I in fact reached out to the SID and said this is a column that I'm going to be doing because Adrian Branch was coming back to call a game in College Park that year. And it just happened to be the week that I was working in D.C. anyway, so I said I'm going to go over to the game and I'm going to talk to Adrian and I'm going to do a column about the fact that Adrian Branch's jersey isn't in the rafters. And this SID reached out to everyone in this company to see if they could get me fired.
So weird.
Threatened.
Right?
By the way, they weren't spending any money with Pressbox, but then threatened. Well, we won't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, in that case,
I mean,
let me amend what I said.
yeah, correct.
How much you willing to spend?
Scumbag. But there are overwhelmingly. It's funny you brought up Loyola, right? Like Ryan Eigenbrode's one of my best friends. I think he's very good at this. Overwhelmingly, I have tremendous relationships with. Every now and then, you find someone, and I'm guessing for the person at UConn, it has something to do with Dan Hurley. I really do. I think he is a reflection of Dan Hurley. Being around that every day has changed who he is as an SID. I'll give a lot of Maryland SIDs credit over the years. A lot of them had to find a very fine line for how to deal with Gary Williams, but yet still understand everyone's job to do. And overwhelmingly, almost every single one of them walk that line incredibly. Gary could mother F us, and then he would say to him, you're going to call into their show on Monday morning. And to Gary's credit, he also would mother F us, and then we'd move on. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. That was the John Feinstein. Gary spoke at John Feinstein's memorial yesterday. I assure you, Gary and John Feinstein had lots of fights.
Right, sure.
Lots of them. But to Gary's credit, you would fight, and then you'd be adults. And that's the way that it worked. You have great respect for John Harbaugh, do you not?
I do.
Did you fight with him?
Yes.
It happens that way
Multiple
sometimes.
times.
Sometimes coaches...
He was wrong every time.
I understand. Sometimes that's going to happen, and then you move on because you're adults. And then sometimes, there's a very small number, there are some times that people that are in this job, they think they're the star. They think they're the one that matters. They think they're the one that, instead of saying, maybe this is between you and the coach, maybe this is something that you guys should work out, I have to step in and throw my you-know-what around. And it's extraordinarily rare. Overwhelmingly, the people in this profession do an incredible job. This was unbelievable. The reporter yesterday said that he got a private phone call and apology from the SID at UConn. And he's moving on. This is why we are so back-asswards in this country. You know what that SID didn't do? Is publicly share that. Because if he did that, it'd be a sign of weakness. That's how, again, lost we are. Publicly acknowledging, I screwed up. I never should have done that. I'm sorry. But we don't do that anymore. For some reason, and it's been passed down to generations. I talk about this with young people all the time. There's this belief that just acknowledging your F-up and apologizing for it somehow makes you weak. This guy shouldn't be in the job if he can't do that.
Yeah,
if you're not
that's
capable,
a terrible look by
if
him.
you're not capable, people screw up. His team lost. He's pissed off. He's dealing with a maniac. Fine. If you can't later that day say, I can't believe I did that. I'm so sorry, and everyone needs to know that. You shouldn't have the job.
I would agree with that. And there's just no – yeah, and I guess the number one thing is you know you're working for a lunatic, right? So everything you do from that point has to sort of be tempered because you know you're working for a guy who's crazy.
It's fact.
You're going to deal with this all the time.
And you're going to have to be able to handle it a lot better than you did. You have to be far more capable of that. All right, speaking of people that are qualified for their jobs, we ready for this?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Qualified. This man is the association. It's time for NBA Corner with our guy, Drew Forrester. NBA Corner is brought to you by County Sports Zone. Everything you need to know about all of the spring sports, whether it's lacrosse,
By the way,
boys
we have
and
a name
girls
for the
lacrosse.
We have a name for
A
this.
new name. Hang on a second. Let me finish this. Baseball, softball. Why it is that the coach at Calvert Hall Golf can't get the job done. We've got you covered at countysports.zone. Proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Yes?
Hanging on the rim.
That's what you got? Mm-hmm. I think I like NBA Corner still. I think I'm still good with that.
All right.
What you got for us?
Well, we got a bunch of stuff going on. Wizards
I thought it was
officially
kind of a slow week.
Wizards officially eliminated. Will not be in the postseason.
Can't believe it.
But they hung on. You got to give them credit. They hung on almost until April. So Wizards officially though out of the postseason. I think they have 15 wins. Does that sound right? Ish. They're in the neighborhood of 15 wins.
That does sound right-ish.
Yeah, they'll wind up with 15 somehow. Jimmy Butler returning from.
I can't believe you know this.
Returning to Miami, and oddly enough, the Heat beat the Warriors, his new team. I don't think Steph Curry played, so, but I'm not sure about that. But I don't think he did. Well, the way I look at it is if Steph Curry played, the Warriors would have won.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if they would have, but he did not.
Okay, he did. Right, I knew he didn't. I thought he did.
Yeah. You didn't know.
By the way, Oklahoma City, a little known fact here, fun fact this morning on Hanging on the Rim, is
Just run with it.
the first team to 60 wins.
That's correct.
And SGA, it's a pretty remarkable stat. What's this dude's name? Gilgeous Alexander?
Yeah. Just go with Gilgy. Let's just go with that.
What is it?
SGA.
Yeah.
That's what I call him.
Yeah.
He has
friends,
had
yeah.
Gilgis.
Gilgeous, that's fine. Hard G. He has had 45. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
He has had 45 30-point games this year.
He's been very good. You think he's the MVP?
I do.
And if Drew Forrester says that,
Right. Hanging on the Rim says it.
might as well
Hashtag hanging on the rim.
go ahead and cash your.
Let's see what else.
Let's see what the MVP odds are.
Greg Popovich out still for the Spurs.
Yes, that's true. He is
He
still
is
out. Yeah.
Not back. And Jimmy Butler saying that when he went back to Miami, he pounded his fist on his heart. And
Is that
they
true?
did a video tribute on the board, and he said I had a lot of great experiences here in Miami. Most of them came after 2 a.m.
To be fair. Yeah, to be fair.
It is accurate.
There was a historic accomplishment from the New York Knicks this week. 2 players both did something in the same game that no Knicks teammates had ever done in the same game.
Diarrhea?
Yeah. That's exactly right. Both Josh Hart and Karl Anthony Towns.
My wife. Hi,
Okay.
I'm on the air with Glenn.
He's doing a very important segment. It's very important. Both Josh Hart and Karl Anthony Towns recorded
diarrhea?
triple doubles against the Mavs, the first ever Knicks teammates to have triple doubles in the same game. Yeah, how about that? I would have thought that the guy in charge of NBA corner on the rim would have known that. Who has the most triple doubles in a single season in Knicks history?
Patrick Ewing.
No. What? Patrick Ewing was stacking up assists?
I have no idea. It's just the first. It's the first.
You were
Knick
trying to think of a Nick. I
It's
understand.
the first Nick that
What,
came to my
what
mind.
if I told you it's one of the 2 guys whose
Oh.
names I just said?
Oh.
Is it Cat?
He didn't catch it. He did not catch who the 2 players were. And if it means that he has to name current New York Knicks, it's going to be troublesome.
Mark Jackson?
There we go. He did have lots of assists.
Karl Anthony Towns.
It's not Karl Anthony Towns. It's the other one.
So I guess I won't say it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, I just said his name.
He went to Kevin Willard's future.
That's right.
Future,
He did.
Future player.
Oh,
Well,
Josh Hart.
Yeah, most of the Knicks players did, though. So
Josh
to be
Hart.
fair.
Yeah, right. It's Villanova North.
Correct. Is that it? Is that what
That's
you...
pretty much it for hanging on the rim.
For what it's worth,
It's pretty good.
well, this week there really isn't a whole lot. This was not a particularly big. I mean, other than the Jimmy Butler thing, which was the big story of this week, there wasn't a whole lot to cover.
Bronny's
So
tearing it up in.
Bronny had.
call
Oh
it?
no, that's
G
part of the
League.
story. No,
Is it?
Bronny played with the Lakers, right? And had 17 or 18 points or something.
I think that was the whatever their name
yeah,
is,
the
the
G
South
League.
Lakers.
Yeah.
Oh, South Lakers.
Yeah.
Wasn't
South
the real
Bay,
Lakers?
South Bay Lakers.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Thought it was the real Lakers.
Yeah,
No.
well, you know,
No,
yeah,
not
it's,
the real
it's what it is.
Okay.
All right, there we go. That's
And
true.
what about Ovi?
Boy, this petered out quickly.
He's pretty good.
This.
6 goals.
This.
What's the schedule?
Nope, we're not doing that. When we come back in, Len Elmore is going to join us. We'll
He's
get his
caught
thoughts.
up in Ovi fever.
I don't think so. We're going to talk to him.
6
about,
goals.
We're going
Just
to
needs
talk
6
to him.
goals.
Yes, he does.
2 hat tricks.
That's true. That would be, or if he scored 6 in one game, for example,
Do you
that would
think
do
down
it.
the stretch there's any way at all that they do the Cal Ripken All-Star Game thing?
When they start like leaving the net open, they just have the
Well,
goalie come
where
out of the
they-
net.
Where they, if it's 4-1, where they just sort of slough off on him with 3 games to go.
I think it's
I do
possible,
too.
but
I do too.
It also depends on whether the games matter or not. Like I don't know.
Oh, if it's 4-1 with 6 minutes to go, the game's over.
You say that, but teams are not just quitting at 4-1. If it's 7-1 with 6 minutes to go, that's one thing. They're not quitting at 4-1 with 6 minutes to go.
Who are you like in Houston Open?
Jeff Maggart. We come back in.
He might have won that.
He
once.
definitely. I happen to know that Jeff Maggart once won the Houston Open. Don't ask me why. I know that.
Why do you know that?
Do not.
Why
ask
do you know
why
that?
I
want to
You
know
should look
why.
that
I
up
happen
to
to know.
make sure.
I know as a fact that
You
Jeff
should look that
Maggart
up
is
to
a
make sure.
Houston Open champion. We can
You
bet
also won the match
$100.
play once.
I don't think I know that. I'm only a Houston Open man. We come back in.
You know
Len
what else
Elmore.
happened to him?
What?
He was a little known fact.
Yeah.
Jeff Maggart was leading the Masters and hit a ball out of the bunker on, I think,
I
number
regret
7.
this. Mm-hmm.
And the ball hit the bunker and bounced back and hit him. 2-stroke penalty,
It's pretty good.
and he was done.
That's pretty great.
Never recovered.
That's pretty great. Plus, he was a fantastic running back at Towson and then for the New York Giants. Maggart.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
did a
Jeff
real-
Maggott.
I think
Or
it was
Maggott.
Dave Maggott. I believe was who that was.
Yeah,
not
Dave
even
Maggott.
Jeff. We come back in. Len Elmore, I swear, is
Maverick
joining us.
McNeely
We're talking some Terps.
is your winner.
Sure, whoever that is.
And Davis Thompson.
You got it. I've never heard of these people. Len Elmore next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses make golf fun and affordable. All 5 local courses, Pine Ridge, Mount Pleasant, Forest Park, Carroll Park, and Clifton Park, are challenging and fun for players of all skill levels. Book your tee time today at classic5golf.com.
COVID-19 and flu viruses are circulating in Maryland. But don't worry, protection is within arm's reach. Protect your health with this year's COVID-19 and flu shots. It's safe and convenient to get them both at the same time. Flex your protection. For more information, visit health.maryland.gov/vaccines.
This message paid for by the Maryland Department of Health.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
March is a slam dunk at Live Casino. Catch all the basketball action and more at Sports and Social. Enter our $80,000 Dolce & Gabbana giveaway on March 28th. And catch the Baltimore baseball jersey giveaway March 31st. Take your shot at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Glenn Clark and I sit down for a Q&A with Orioles owner David Rubenstein, discussing what he learned from his first year as owner, his goals both on and off the field, and his involvement in baseball decisions. Also inside, Brooks DeBose profiles new Oriole Tyler O'Neill, and we meet college lacrosse players from around the state. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the O's, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
That's important. Yeah, make sure you take that. 3 career PGA Tour wins for Jeff Maggart. The Walt Disney World Oldsmobile Classic. The WGC Match Play Championship, as Drew pointed out. Yeah, we're not even getting the bit. And the FedEx St. Jude Classic, not the Shell Houston Open.
So do you owe Drew $100?
In a playoff, he lost to Mark Brooks in 1996 at the Houston Open. I don't know why. I think I just happened to be watching that day with my grandfather, and I just remembered him having a strong. Yeah, it's tough. That's real tough. Yeah, that's a difficult thing. That he's done the same bit. He's done the same bit for 5 years and a month. It's the exact same. We talk about if you think you've gotten tired of the I don't even like Coke anymore.
Just like the way it smells?
Just like the way it's. You think you're tired of that? This one he's been banging in for 5 years and a month
How many
at
times
this
do you
point.
think you've had COVID?
I only know of one.
I've had it like 7 times.
Yeah.
I'm a clubhouse leader.
You're the guy. The Jeff Maggard of COVID.
How did you miss that?
I don't know. But you should have taken me up on my bet. You screwed up there. Let's talk. This man got some company recently. As before this season, there was only one player in University of Maryland history with 1,000 career rebounds. Julian Reese has joined him. But I think he's going to remind us he did it better. He is, of course, the great Len Elmore, and he is with us this morning here on GCR. Len, it's Glenn. Drew Forrester's here with me. Always great to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Sure, gentlemen. Nice to be with you.
You got company, huh?
Yeah, I mean, welcome to the club. When you say I'm going to remind you, I don't feel like I don't feel comfortable doing that. I think people should already figure it out that we did it in 3 years. That's the difference. It's not to take anything away from the accomplishment, but the facts are facts.
That is a fact. Julian Reese does, however, join. And by the way, I would imagine as far as that, it's very rare we're going to see stories like Juju's, right? And someone at this point in college athletics that sticks around for 4 years, goes through ups, downs, coaching changes. While, yes, nobody is trying to suggest that Julian Reese greater than sign Len Elmore. I'm not going to do that. Cruelly, you're one of the top couple of players in Maryland basketball history. I do have to imagine it's kind of neat that if somebody was going to come join you in this club, it's someone whose story has been as special and unique as Juju.
Oh, there's no question about it. And, I'm proud of the fact that he did stay for 4 years. He is a Terp through and through. He's been a tremendous player, and, we played in different eras. But, you take nothing away from the accomplishment. 1,000 rebounds, it's not bad. You have to be committed to do your job. And, I think Juju's been that way throughout his career.
What is it like? What does it say about him to you, Len, that he, as I mentioned, he goes through everything he's been through. He was a phenomenon his freshman year, but, obviously the coaching change there. The next couple of seasons, it's a struggle, particularly a struggle at the free throw line. I mean, it was awful for a while. And then to come through this year, not just the way that he's, to your point, the little things that he does, the rebounds, the defense, but with the season on the line the other night, and he's at the free throw line, we're all saying to ourselves, oh, yeah, that's exactly who you want in that spot now. What does it say about him and his commitment, his resiliency?
Well, I think that word resilience is extremely important to attribute to his effort and to, his longevity at Maryland. I mean, he could have ultimately gone someplace else, transferred to another school with portal being open and, NIL out there. But, the other word that I would attribute to him is character.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's extremely important, and it goes a long way. And I think on the pro level, while right now we don't see him as a high pick, I think that that's something that pro people will take a look at, an individual's character, somebody that, certainly will add to a team. So, I'm hopeful that they see that. And as I said, I'm very proud of what he's been able to do.
We know that you are, first of all, you're one of the smartest human beings on the face of the planet. I know that you've got more of an analytical mind. Did you allow yourself a moment of like jumping up and celebrating and hooting and hollering when Derek Queen hit the shot the other night?
I'm too old for that, but I did give a woo. That's the most you'll get out of me these days, and particularly in my career as an analyst and trying to be fair on the air. But no, it was exciting and really gratifying to see. This season these guys have accomplished an awful lot, and they're taking that next step to survive and advance.
Len Elmore, the great Len Elmore, is with us here on GCR. Len, I wonder, obviously there's this really unique circumstance that Maryland's in where I think they have every chance to keep this going against Florida. Florida's really good, but so is Maryland. It comes at the same time where there's a lot of hubbub around the program. What have you made of, how open Kevin Willard's been about everything that's going on and how it doesn't appear as though it has been the proverbial distraction or it's hurt the players on the floor to have all of this going on right now?
I think in the total environment, players recognize that these things are going to happen, and the fact that they were done outwardly, I don't think really has any impact on them. I mean, as I said, we're in a different environment now. Had this happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you probably would have been able to call it a distraction. But as I said, hopefully it's all resolved now. I think some of the problem, though, are agents. I really dislike agents holding institutions hostage. Institutions need to, have enough courage to be able to take a stand. But as I said, this seemed to be ending amicably, and the players believe in the coach for whatever reasons, including the reason Derek Queen spoke of at the press conference. So I'm not surprised, and they seem obviously committed to the coach, and the coach now is committed to the program, and it's time to move on.
It seems that way, and we're hoping that's the case. Len, one of the things that's been brought up during this is the emphasis on basketball at the University of Maryland. And I know with your work with the Knight Commission, it's maybe an interesting person to talk to, where I've wondered, like, how does a program handle this? Because I think everybody would agree that Maryland is a basketball school. We all know that. But there's a super conference coming in football, and there's a lot of money involved with that, and they want to be a part of it. And in order to be a part of it, they've got to show that they are truly committed to football and spending at that level. Does that ultimately hurt the unit? Like, should Maryland be a school that says, look, we're a basketball school, that's where our emphasis should be?
Well, I mean, it's a dilemma. There's no question about it. But, those are decisions that leaders have to make, whether it's President Pines and whoever the new athletic director is going to be to make that statement. I mean, football obviously drives programs, athletic programs in the Power Four. And, what it does, though, there is an element of trickle down. When you take a look at the SEC, 14 teams in the tournament now. A lot of that trickle down came from football programs having success. But you have coaches who, recognize that they may be driving the bus, at least initially, and I'm sure Kevin believes that.
Right.
And, they want what they need right now. So, as I said, that's a dilemma for the athletic director. And, it's not my job, so
but hang on, I have to be the one. I have to be the one to ask. Would you consider it? Because I could do a lot worse than Len Elmore as athletic director at the University of Maryland.
No, my opportunity and my desire to do that passed about 15 years ago, and they passed over me, which is fine. I'll be 73 years old on Friday, so I'm happy to cheer on my alma mater and weigh in if people ask my opinion. But it's time for the next generation to take over.
Well, first of all, happy birthday, Len. Let me make sure I say that, and hopefully you get a heck of a birthday gift on Thursday night. Hopefully that ends up being the case.
Well, I'm hoping. I'm hoping for sure.
Do you, in watching these guys, do you still have any concern at all about the depth? Like, Florida has 10 different players that all play at least 10 minutes a game. They have been only going to like 8 in the tournament, which isn't surprising. We all know the teams tend to trim their benches in the tournament. But does that still concern you at all? Like, should somebody, Juju, whoever it is, pick up 2 fouls? Or are you at the point where you don't think the depth matters anymore and they're capable of playing with anybody?
Well, I think depth matters, but it would probably matter more on Saturday if we get there than it would on Thursday. They've had plenty of time to rest. And quite honestly, you expect Florida to try to wear Maryland down, to rotate their bigs in and out against our guys, our 2 main guys. And also, they've got tremendous versatility. The question for Maryland is, do they stay the course? Do they put pressure on Florida, force them to play defense and not settle simply for threes? Do they get out in transition as often as they possibly can, and can they offensive rebound? Those are the things that, kind of balance out a team's depth. And on a Thursday after, the win last weekend, they should be fresh and ready to go.
Can I ask your impressions of Kevin Willard as a coach? Because I feel like one of the reasons why Maryland fans have been desirous of seeing him stick around is because we've seen not just the roster construction, but legitimate in-game coaching impact. Where out of timeouts this season, they've been fabulous offensively. I mean, they've been. I don't know what the percentage rate is, but it feels like it's 90 to 100% in converting out of timeouts. What have your impressions been of him just as an in-game XO's difference maker as a coach?
Well, I've always admired Kevin's offensive mentality, offensive approach, and even when he was at Seton Hall, and he's found ways to get his guys involved, and he's got the right personnel right now to be able to execute. Obviously defensively, we've got to be a little more. How would I say, a little more of a challenge to a lot of teams. In the tournament, it's not necessarily that you have to outscore people. You got to be able to stop folks. And the hope is that we can do that. Some of the decisions and mistakes that have been made, with certain things, even some of the buzzer beaters, you look at some of the mistakes that might have been made or decisions that might have been made that you want to retract, you learn from it. And, this is where it all comes together. The learning process, has to culminate in making the right decision, not only out of a timeout on offense, but certainly out of a timeout on defense when everything's on the line. So, but overall, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the personnel he's been able to put together, with the combinations that he has that really work. And, the hopeful element of me says that, defensively, they've learned from mistakes and we're going to move forward.
Last one for you, Len. There's been an opinion that's been shared by a lot of folks that this is the end of the upset era in the NCAA tournament, because now that the mid-major is being rated by the top programs in the transfer portal, you're just not going to see the era of these programs being able to have veteran teams and go toe-to-toe with the best teams in the country. I think that that's over-dramatic based on 1 year's worth of results, and even in a year where Alabama State was battling with Auburn in the second half of a game. But what do you make of that idea that it's going to fundamentally change the NCAA tournament moving forward?
I think that the odds are pretty good that it will. When you say change it, though, if we're talking about just not having Cinderella anymore, that is certainly a possibility, but it won't necessarily, create a lack of interest. But I will say that, again, I go back to my analogy using the SEC with 14 teams getting into the tournament and the spending of NIL money to attract the best players. That's going to happen, and that's going to weight it in favor of going forward, having nothing but Power 4 and blue blood teams. But there's an awful lot of talent out there playing high school basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of guys who are playing high school basketball that are playing against the big names that, draw the NIL money and play for the big teams that are hungry. You mentioned Alabama State. There are others. Look at Colorado State.
Yep.
The bottom line is that you're still going to have, if you get the right combinations of those kinds of guys with the hunger and the desire, and, using the transfer portal to the extent that you can, there's still enough talent out there that in a one and done situation, you're gonna still find some upsets. So, I wouldn't decry the atmosphere going forward. I'd keep an eye on it because if it continues on a consistent basis, it will lose interest. I remember listening when they talked about having the power conferences form, FBS conferences form their own league,
right?
And because the interests are different, you had a lot of ADs who got upset and said, well, if we do that, we're going to take basketball with us and start our own tournament. Well, go ahead. Because it's the first weekend that everybody truly watches.
Yeah.
And nobody, the interest in just seeing blue bloods and power conferences playing against each other, that's ultimately that interest is gonna be draining. So you always need that hope. You always need those teams that have an opportunity that aren't necessarily a power conference, but still have that desire. And as long as we have that, and as long as we have hope, it's like Wall Street. People are going to buy on anticipation.
I agree wholeheartedly. Of course, when it goes to 96, so that's the new plan, right? Is they're going to ultimately get it to 96 teams, so they can just drown out all of those other programs and try to keep as much of themselves. But whatever, we'll deal with that then, I guess, is the way that it'll go. Len Elmore, it's always a pleasure, my friend. It's great to hear your voice. Happy birthday. Hopefully you get a great gift on Thursday night. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
All right, Glenn, thank you. Take care.
The great Len Elmore with us here on GCR. I think it's hyperbole, the upset stuff. There are plenty of teams that had a chance to pull off upsets this year. They just didn't, and it's okay for 1 year if there's not. I agree with Len that if it were to happen for 5 years, if we go 5 years and it just appears as though the
seeding doesn't matter.
No, it just appears as though there's no prayer for the little guys.
Gotcha.
That it's become the haves.
Right, sure.
That if we go 5 years with that, it does impact interest in the NCAA tournament. He's right.
Okay, but
I don't think we're going to go
I don't
5
either.
years
I mean,
like
if
that.
Colorado State played Maryland 5 times, Maryland would not beat them 5 straight games.
No, not a chance.
Right.
Absolutely not. But Colorado State, somebody would say, isn't really the little guy we're talking about.
You're talking
right?
about American University.
Yeah, programs like that having a chance.
Well, those teams don't have a chance.
Well, they have. I mean, it's happened. Like, we've seen it.
But it does happen once every 5 years.
But that's
and
the
is
point.
that enough?
Like, to me, that's enough.
Okay.
It's the there's a chance this can happen. I keep tuning in because
Who beat St. John's? They were 2. They're out.
They lost to Arkansas.
Okay,
And
so
certainly
a
not
10.
a certainly not
Okay.
But like Drake won, they beat Missouri. I get it. Drake's probably on the higher.
Drake's done anything good in the last 20 years.
It's a fact, 100%. Certainly, it's been a tough 12 months otherwise for Drake. But the point, like that's Drake. You could say
no
is
large professor.
Thank you. Drake is on the higher. That's what you came up with. That's what you got. Drake's on the higher end of the low majors, right? Like you can say that, but it's still Drake. Like it's still not. We're not talking. They're not Florida. They're not Maryland. They're Drake, and they won. You're not going to get.
Isn't there a school, Lamar University?
There is, yes.
Lamar and Drake should play one another.
Drew with tweets from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, is that?
Yes. The internet was all over.
The internet already got me on that one.
The internet was all over that one.
Sorry.
All over. That's okay.
I'll be quiet. Put it on Blue Sky.
That's what you were during Len. What is your beef with Len Elmore?
Not a fan.
Oh, what did he do? Why?
Not a fan.
What?
I back out of these things when I'm not.
Len Elmore came on the show.
It's actually pretty
one of the
impressive.
greatest players in Maryland history.
Kidding. He's no Tom McMillan.
I mean, they're both great. They're unquestionably 2 of the greatest players in Maryland basketball history and 2 of my favorite people to talk to. I'm fans of both of them. But
Tommy Mack.
You got anything else for me? Nah.
Good.
You gonna make your predictions
COVID's wrecking.
I know.
For baseball?
Yeah.
Well, tomorrow, Tuesday morning dish.
Yeah?
But I did make my Oriole prediction today.
Okay.
85 and 77, no wild card.
Wow, missed the playoffs at 85 and 77.
Then what happens? Then what happens in the offseason?
Is Brandon Hyde gone then?
No, I can't tell you that yet.
No.
I just don't think their pitching's good enough.
Well, I agree with that.
I just, I feel like I don't want to put a lot of stock in Grayson and Gunnar at the beginning of the year and injured, blah, blah, blah. But it feels like this is going to be one of those things. And it just happens. Like, you go through these periods where you go a year or so and no one gets hurt. Ravens had a great year this past year with injuries. You go through years where you get 20 guys hurt.
We'll do this exercise because we're going to do our preview
85 and
stuff on
77.
Friday. Give me the five Orioles whose performance this season is most pivotal to how the season goes. So hang on a second. I'm going to write down performance this season.
You want to wait or you want me to?
No. We can do this. We can do this.
Okay.
I think these are my 5.
Okay, I don't want to know your 5.
Okay.
My 5 are Zach Eflin.
Okay.
Jackson Holliday.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler O'Neill.
It's interesting. Okay.
I'll say Sugano.
Okay.
Because I think even though it wasn't a large investment in him, they need a good one too, and it could be Grayson. But I'll put the Japanese guy in there. If he flatlines for some weird reason, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Which early results on or returns on him, or they won't do that.
Other than the start against the Yankees in the spring training,
He's
obviously,
been very
he was
good.
excellent.
Yeah. James McCann's gone. My fifth one would be. I'll say Cowser.
Okay.
I
think there's absolutely an argument for Cowser.
Yeah.
He wasn't on my list,
I
but
would
there's
say Cowser.
There's a strong. We saw for a month Colton Cowser looked like he was a difference maker, and then he was a guy for the rest of the season.
This could be an outfield, and that's why I put those two in there.
Mm-hmm.
This could be an outfield that has, if something weird happens and those two have off years,
Mm-hmm.
it could be an incredibly listless offensive outfield. Because Mullins is just going to do what Mullins does.
Yeah, probably, as long as he
right?
stays healthy, right?
Now, Kierstad probably won't play much defense. I don't think. I hope he doesn't. But I'm going to
I don't really know what the difference is between he and Tyler O'Neill in
okay.
right field, defensively.
I don't know. I haven't watched Tyler O'Neill enough, but I watched Kierstad enough to know he can't play defense. So there's my five. I just think those five.
So it's interesting to me because I understand. Three guys that are on my Povich is on my list.
Okay.
Povich to
because they need a lefty.
He's the one guy that might have some upside here. That might be not just a guy.
Okay.
Dean Kramer's just a guy. We've got enough at this point to know that Dean Kramer's just a guy.
He's going to go 13-10, and his ERA is going to be 4.15.
And he'll be fine. In moments, he'll be great.
He'll have 7 or 8
right.
really, really good starts.
But we know what Dean Kramer is. There's not really, to me, that much between there with Dean Kramer. Povich, to me, is the one guy. It's why I'm happy that they're putting him in the rotation. He's the one guy that looks like there might be some upside, that he might be more than what he is right now. And so that could be difference-making for this club. If Cade Povich could be – I'm not trying to make – I know everybody obsesses over the Max Fried stuff. I don't think he's Max Fried. Stop it. But if he's –
But of that ilk.
Right. If he's a plus pitcher.
If he's a Mark Burley.
No, I mean, if he was Mark Burley, we'd have a parade.
Mark Burley should be in the Hall of Fame.
Mark Burley was phenomenal.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
But
yes, I get what you're saying.
I
if he's a left-handed,
I also have Eflin on my list. Jackson Holliday is with certainty on my list. Jackson Holliday is absolutely a massive pivot, a pivotal point for this season.
I mean, he's got to hit 270, and he's got to hit 24 home runs,
and he's got to show that he can play second base,
right.
Which is why JJ Hardy's going to join us in a bit. I think it's weird.
Thanks.
I know. I'm aware.
I'm good.
I'm aware. I think it's weird that they're doing the bit where they're going to have him play shortstop. I think that's a strange thing for them to do. And I know that it's not supposed to be long for Gunnar and whatever, but Jackson Holliday needs to be your second baseman. He's got to I don't. Why
How
are
funny would it be if Gunnar gets Wally pipped?
He's so good at short that they're just like, eh.
Hey Gunnar, how's right field sound?
Right. Jackson Holliday to me is very high on this list.
Okay.
And then it's the two that I brought up in Would You Rather Wednesday because I have real questions about them. It's Adley and Felix. Those are the two to me. Like, the season to me most turns on.
What would concern you about Batista?
He had a major injury.
Dude, they come back better than ever from that.
Not when you're he struck out 2 guys in the inning. What he did in 2023 would have been difficult to replicate healthy. I hear all this. I hear that Tommy John surgery isn't a thing. These guys don't.
It's a torn ACL.
Not when they're Felix Batista. Not when they're throwing like that.
Okay.
That is constant, high leverage, volatility, putting a lot of work into that arm.
Okay.
It would have been difficult for me to
Gavin
imagine.
Sheets made the Padres
I did
roster.
see that. I'm very happy for him. It'd be one thing for me.
Should have him over Ryan O'Hearn. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't know.
I guess. But
I don't know. I love Gavin, and I take him. Got to cut down on the strikeouts, man.
Shut up.
Got to cut down on the strikeouts. I love the guy.
Hater.
I couldn't love him anymore. He's one of my
I hope
favorite
out
people.
there. I hope when we're out there in September.
I hope we
he hits
are.
5 home
I
runs
hope
against us.
Oh yeah. What is this?
Elias.
What is this?
Rat Fink.
All right, who's on your list?
I also have Adley. I feel like he's kind of almost
Single
number
most
one
pivotal to me.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Adley. He can't be. That second half. There has to be signs of that not being who he is. And then Grayson on my list. I think he's very, very important. He's the ace of this staff. At least it feels like they need him to be the ace of this staff, and obviously that's going to start with him being healthy. So we'll see when we see him, but I think like Grayson is the guy right now that whenever that if Drew's saying they're not going to make the playoffs, but whenever that first playoff game is, Grayson's the guy that we need to have so much confidence in giving him the ball for game 1 of a playoff series. And then I think Gunnar should be on the list. Like this team's going to ride a lot on Gunnar Henderson. Like they're going to lean on him offensively.
I just don't have any real concern about Gunnar Henderson.
I think that's true.
List.
Yeah.
I can pivotal isn't like you want to say he's the. I don't think there's a whole lot of fulcrum there. Like Gunnar Henderson
move Holliday to my third spot then. So Holliday, Adley, Grayson with bullets. And then Felix isn't on my list, and maybe it's because of the.
I think I've just written off Grayson. Like I hate saying.
Like you
that.
think he's done.
I have so little expectation. It's why Cade Povich is so important to me. No, I think he's gonna pitch at some point, but
and the fact he's still doing like media hits, like he.
Well, yeah, but what did he say? He said yesterday, yes, there's no ligament damage, but I need basically an entire full spring training's worth of ramp up from here.
So it's a month.
Maybe that could help.
Full spring training is 6 weeks, right? Like a full spring training gives you until.
It's terrible when you're a pitcher and you're soft.
We're gonna do that. Is that what we're gonna do? Until mid-May, and it just it smells like.
Teen Spirit?
No, yeah. Did you watch the Post Malone thing?
No.
He did it with at the SNL concert.
Oh.
Post Malone did "Smells Like Teen Spirit" with Dave Grohl.
Just saying.
He's like David Duvall. He has lost a lot of weight.
He's like
Does
David
that
Duvall.
even mean?
David Duvall played his best golf fat.
I've always felt that way about Jonah Hill. He just doesn't look right when he's skinny. Like you're just like, I can't.
Correct.
Who are you?
Right.
Don't be skinny.
And then the outfield. So if you remove Gunnar then from the equation, then the outfield also becomes very a lot of questions. So any combination of the two. I went with Mullins and O'Neill. Like I think Cedric Mullins.
See, the theme of the outfield has come out and play.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want to lose your love tonight. That was what I was gonna go with myself. Was my question about the outfield.
Mullins and O'Neill.
I can't put I know what Mullins is. I can't put him on this list. I know what Mullins is. I don't have any questions.
What if he becomes
61?
I don't have any questions about Mullins.
Lower than that.
Yeah, if he gets hurt, he'll end up struggling again. But otherwise, if he's healthy, I know what Mullins is.
Tyler O'Neill.
How many teams make the playoffs? 6 total?
No, 7.
Well, 6 from the. Oh yeah.
Oh right, no, 6 per league.
Yeah,
yes.
6 per
Sorry,
league.
6 per league.
So 3 division winners and 3 wild cards.
Yes. Are you reconsidering whether or not you should have them out of the playoffs?
Oh no! I already
Okay.
I know who I'm just trying to put mine in order.
Who's making the playoffs? Got it. All right. No golf show this week. Are you out of here? What are you
Can
doing?
I put Elias on the list?
No, he's on the list. All right, if they don't make the playoffs, the S list.
Are you? What's your deal? There's no golf show this week, right? Because they got basketball.
Right.
Yes. No golf show this week, but back next week. I would.
Well, yeah, but I got a problem next week. I got to talk to Scott.
What is this?
Well, the Masters.
What is the golf show? 2 weeks.
Oh,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Fairways and greens.
What?
Occasionally on
maybe,
Sunday.
Maybe.
Occasionally on.
When
occasionally every Sunday.
When he feels like it.
No, not me.
Well, it's kind. You just said the week you're supposed to be back.
Yeah,
you
but
might
I got
not feel
something
like
going
it.
on that
That's
day.
what you just said.
I got golf. It's okay to supplant the golf show if you have golf.
Oh, okay, got it. That's the way it works.
It's not like
Why
I'm
don't you
laying
just
at
do
home.
it from whatever you're doing?
Well, that would be
You could do that. Anything else?
I think so. Everything's good. We're doing great. Everything is good.
Good luck with the COVID. You know.
Yeah, I got it.
Please thank your wife. She got me some Blast tickets recently.
Oh, nice.
That was very thoughtful of
Blast
her. I
in the
appreciate that.
playoffs.
Ah, good for them. Good for them. It was
In the playoffs.
We could talk about that off the air. We could talk about.
Nobody is there.
What's going on?
No
how
one,
do they exist?
no one goes to the games.
How do they exist?
No one. any of the games.
The Blasts have been a part of my life.
There are
like
only 2 teams that are drawing in the whole league. I looked at the attendance number the other night. They played a game in Texas somewhere. 818. And you know that's not true.
Right. Nobody gives you the real number.
You know 818 is not true. I know I had the commissioner of the league back in the 90s. You have to submit your box report.
Mm-hmm.
And I submitted ours. And I want to say our tickets sold for the night were like 45-30. We announced 48-77. He called the next day. My secretary says, Steve Paxis is on the phone. I'm like, oh, hell, the commissioner's calling. I said, what's up? He goes, hey, what the F is wrong with you? I'm like, huh? What? What do you mean? He goes, you announced 48-something yesterday. I'm like, right. He goes, don't ever announce anything close to the higher number like that. It's always 52, 53, 54. I said, oh, okay. He goes, yeah, don't ever announce 4,800. It doesn't do you any good.
You always go over the.
Always go over the right. So when I saw 818 the other night, I'm like,
you
should have either announced 1,060
right.
or the real number of 521.
100%.
Yeah, no one's going.
I didn't want to. I really didn't want to do.
Well,
this. But it was tough, man. I looked around. I'm like, what? What? Like, what's going on here? What's happening?
The games in Baltimore are crazy. Like the game, the pace of the game is insane. I mean, it's a totally different game than it was 20 years ago.
I don't know, man.
In the bigger arenas, it's probably the same. But in that building, I mean, it's like
it's a really small field. You're right. No doubt about it.
But it's fun. Who did they play that night when you went?
They played. I don't know.
St. Louis?
They played the Wave.
Did they win?
Who are the Wave?
Milwaukee.
That's who they played.
Okay.
Is that who they played? That might be who they played. I don't remember. They lost. It was a Sunday.
It's an interesting venue.
Look, my kids.
What they really need to do in Baltimore is just take a guy off the field, each team.
Yeah, that would help.
If they allowed for only a 4-on-4 in Baltimore, it would be great.
My kids are still into it, like the way that I was when I was a kid.
Remember, when you have 5 players on each team on the field, there's also 3 officials.
It's a lot going on.
13 people
a
running
lot
around on the
going
field.
on, man.
There's 6 players on the field because I forgot the goalie. I mean, he doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
He does get in the mix, but he's not in the field. But there's 15 people on the playing surface at any given time. It's a lot of people in a small venue. Yep. All right.
Hi, buddy.
Tell JJ Hardy I said hi.
I'll do.
Yeah. Give him the finger for me.
He's still not over.
What did he do to you?
No.
He wouldn't stand up for.
Wouldn't stand up for me.
We were doing a video one day.
Oh, this is like legit.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is real.
JJ. And JJ is very businessman-like. That day.
I got a different word, but okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, JJ, Drew Forrester here from WNST. Hey, how you doing? Good. He already was predisposed to not liking us for other reasons.
Yes, correct.
I wonder what.
Yeah. And, hey, good to do the morning show. Yep. Yeah, I know. Right. Good. We got a minute? Yeah, I got a minute.
Good.
Awesome. Can I just shoot you a couple questions? Yeah, but I'm not going to stand up.
Yep.
You got to kneel down here next to me. Excuse me? Yeah, I'm not standing up. You got to kneel down. Okay. We're good then. Appreciate you. That was the end of that. Then every time I was in the locker room, after that, he would always go out of his way to shoot me, the FU stare, because I wouldn't kneel down for him. Like he was.
Would always come up whenever JJ Hardy's name came up.
Always.
Would you have knelt down for him?
I don't know.
I mean, it seemed a little weird.
It was weird.
It seemed a little weird.
It was definitely weird.
JJ, I'm not a flight attendant.
Right. It is one thing if we were just doing audio where Drew could just hold the microphone or whatever, but we were doing video.
Gotcha.
This was when
Hi JJ.
The guy that was running the radio station was like, "We're not a radio station.
Yeah, we're not a radio station.
We don't do radio anymore. We do internet.
Right.
You got to make videos." I was like, "Right, but what about we do 4 hours of radio every day?"
Not anymore.
And he said, "No, you do videos now." So we went over there to do a video, and so it was going to be uncomfortable. It was going to be
something else happened in that. Oh, I know what happened.
What?
Oh my God.
What?
We did the show from a restaurant.
Oh, well, that was, it's spring training, 100%. Yeah.
Well, this was the spring training.
I thought the JJ thing was an opening day.
No,
I thought
no.
it was in
It was
Baltimore.
Spring training. 100,000,000%.
We did a bunch of videos
No.
in spring training.
A
I remember that.
$1,000,000%. It was at. No.
I think the JJ thing specifically was
dead
an opening
wrong.
day. I think it was opening day.
Nope.
I think it was.
You're wrong. But we did 3 days of shows.
We did a whole week of shows.
It was
What
a
are you
whole week
talking about?
In a restaurant.
In a restaurant, correct.
That the owner
had.
By the way, not only did he set it up, he went down there under the auspices of a scouting trip.
Right. Yeah.
He went
a scouting trip.
He went down there for 3 days and came back and said,
"I got a place for you.
This is going to be.
They're fired
awesome.
up. They're excited about you being there.
This guy is so excited to have you guys there." It was from this is not a good judgment, right? It was 75 yards from the baseball stadium.
It was very convenient.
Parking lot, balls that were hit out of the stadium would bounce into the parking lot while we were on the air.
Yep.
And we were looking out at the stadium. We could see the back left field wall. And we go there on this Monday, and this guy's Miguel or whatever this guy's name is. Good to see you guys. And that was about all he said to us.
Correct.
Good to see you guys. There's your table right there.
Yep.
And so we get set up, and I said to Glenn, "Hey man, grab us a couple drinks." Glenn's like, "Okay, what do you want?" "I don't know, Pepsi." "Okay, great." Comes back, Pepsi's. We're all good. We're there. About an hour later, Glenn's like, "Man, I'm kind of hungry." I said, "Me too." And he goes, "Yeah, we're supposed to be getting food, right? And let's just order some food."
It was always part of the deal. When you do something like this, you would exchange
and the owner said,
and we would
this guy is going to take.
Yeah, we were going to plug. The idea is you're headed down to spring training. When you come down here, come to Miguel's.
Come to
Miguel's. Have the mofongo, right?
And you guys are going to get taken great care of.
Yep.
Don't this guy loves what you guys are doing. Gotcha. So and I would say this as not to toot our own horn, but like when we do these things, we don't order the filet.
Right.
We don't.
Yeah.
Like
we get a burger.
Cheeseburger,
We get
right?
right.
Cheeseburger, some French fries, and some onion rings or whatever. So we eat. We do the show. We eat. Everything's great. Getting ready to close up. We're wrapping up the wires. Old Miguel comes over. He goes, "Guys coming back tomorrow?" He said, "Yeah." He goes, "How you guys want to handle the check for the week? You guys want to just pay today, or you want me to just keep a tab for the week?" We're like, "A tab for what?" He goes, "The drinks,
the food,
and the food."
Mm-hmm.
Glenn's like, just give it to us now. They give it to us. It's got all the food on there, and it has 6 drinks. $1.85 for a soda.
Yep.
$1.85 for a soda. $1.85 for a soda.
We're there for 4 hours.
So
and the guy gives us refill. He gives us a $48 or whatever check.
Which now I guess would just be normal, but at the time was outrageous.
But I mean,
we said, "Huh, all right, well,
tomorrow
yeah.
it's we're bringing
water.
cupcakes and water.
Go ahead, have some water tomorrow."
So something happened. I don't remember what happened, but something happened, and the boss called. It wasn't the first night. It was the second or third day. He said, "What's going on there?" "Nothing's going on. We're doing great." He goes, "Well, Miguel called. Something happened. I forget what happened. Did we get into it with like the bartender or something weird?"
I don't remember that.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
I remember he called and said, "You guys are. I had this all set up for you guys." I'm like, "The dude's charge us $50 every day."
Right. What do you mean it's set it up?
I think the boss called down and said, "How's it going?" And he might have said something like, "No one's coming in." There was something happened.
Oh, that might be it. Yeah,
something happened.
It wasn't a huge crowd to come watch us do the radio show
Right.
because we were on during the baseball games.
Right.
That's what happened.
Yeah, he called.
We
and
were
said,
doing afternoons
the boss
that
called
week.
and said, "How are my guys doing?" And he said, "No one's coming."
Right.
And meanwhile, we're paying for the food.
Correct. He's giving us nothing.
We're the only people in the place.
Yeah.
Buying the food.
Correct. Because nobody was coming in. We were on while the baseball games were going on. Like they were going. People, if they were down there, they were going to the games.
The other thing that happened that you're not talking about is all those people got their car towed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We were watching that every day. We were watching it every day.
Got their car towed.
Yeah. People would park in this guy's parking lot to go to the baseball games.
He towed all their cars.
Every single one of them. That's how he was making his money.
Yeah.
He had to deal with the tow truck
sign
people.
up on the thing said no parking for the
No
he was
wonder
out
why he
there.
went to
He was
McGill's.
out there
Yeah, right.
with binoculars.
100%. If he saw you walking towards the stadium, he was eagle eye, man.
Yeah.
Like your car was getting towed 100%.
Those were the days. Huh?
Oh boy, we were living the good life, huh? We were living the good life.
Professional radio.
We could have just done the show from the hotel. Like we could have just sat in our hotel room and done the show, but he had it all lined up for us at Miguel's.
Terry and I and Ray did the show from the old stadium.
Right.
Not the new one.
Back when you were still allowed to.
We did the show.
You weren't persona non grata.
And Ray asked Richie Bancells to do the show. Richie gave us the finger.
Yep.
Because none of them liked us because of the issues.
Yeah,
and
well.
Richie gave us the finger, so we had Sidney Ponzone. Ray said, go talk to Sidney. So I go over. Ponzone's standing by the dugout. This is like 7:30 in the morning.
Down in Florida.
Sidney, how you doing? He goes, I'm doing good, man. I said, hey, you want to come over and do 15, 20 minutes with us on the radio this morning? No. Excuse me? No, I'm good. Okay. Yeah, I don't feel like doing it. Okay, no problem. So that's it. I come back over. We're doing the show. He comes walking over and stands right next to the table and listens. Just want to hear what you guys are saying about me. I said, why don't you just grab the headset and
right,
do the
you
show
can
with us?
talk to us.
He goes, no, I'm good. I don't feel like doing it, but I'm going to stand. And he stood right there the whole time.
Yeah.
He stood there for like 15 minutes and then left. Terry Ford. What the hell's wrong with this guy?
You remember Isaiah Thomas doing that to us at the Super Bowl with Dan Wilcox? Came over. Came to the table the morning that Dan was hosting with us.
Okay.
We said one of the people we knew, one of the PR people we knew, because Isaiah Thomas was the basketball coach at Florida International at the time. And so he was going to do the rounds. And there were only like 8 of us that were doing mornings at Radio Row at that point. He said, all right, we'll squeeze you in for 10 minutes with Isaiah Thomas. This was the beginning of the week where we don't have any guests.
Right. We're doing the guy from Hawaii with the
yeah, whatever. So he starts walking over, and we're like, oh, great, Isaiah Thomas is coming over. We have a guest. He comes over. He sees Dan. Dan stands up. They
do
bro hug.
Right.
And then he just walks away. And we're like, all right, well, I guess there's going to be no Isaiah Thomas this morning. That's good to see you, Isaiah. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. All right, we'll come back in. Tidbit, Tubular, JJ Hardy.
JJ has said hi.
Drew's excited.
Yeah,
that's
nice career.
All right. Thank you. What is your deal, man? Did have a nice career. Orioles. Yeah, go ahead. Florida 92, he says. Florida 92. All right, very good. JJ Hardy next. This is Glenn Clark Radio.
March is a slam dunk at Live Casino. Catch all the basketball action and more at Sports and Social. Enter our $80,000 Dolce & Gabbana giveaway on March 28th. And catch the Baltimore baseball jersey giveaway March 31st. Take your shot at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from driveeasymd.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at driveeasymd.com.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their amazingly scrumptious, fat, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. Every season is crab season at Costas, so make your plans now by calling 410-477-1975 and reserve your taste of heaven. Sit back, crack some crabs, and watch the Ravens chase down another title on Costas' 15 TVs. On Monday nights, Costas offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30, and there are nightly specials Monday through Friday. So head on down to the Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at costasinn.com.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
COVID-19 and flu viruses are circulating in Maryland. But don't worry, protection is within arm's reach. Protect your health with this year's COVID-19 and flu shots. It's safe and convenient to get them both at the same time. Flex your protection. For more information, visit health.maryland.gov/vaccines.
This message paid for by the Maryland Department of Health.
Want to improve your golf game or learn to play for the first time? The Baltimore Golf Academy has fun, instructional programs for the beginner golfer to everyday players. The Baltimore Golf Academy can take your game to the next level. Enroll today at baltimoregolfacademy.com.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we are winding down for a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. Continue to get your responses in. Someone is picking up a $30 gift card to Glory Days Grill just for participating. Twitter, Instagram, or no, it's Twitter, Facebook, or Blue Sky. Those are the places where you can find us. All right, let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by the print issue of Press Box, which is still available for another couple of weeks at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. That's David Rubenstein on the cover. You're familiar with him. He owns the Orioles. He sat down for a lengthy Q&A with Stan and I. Go pick that up today. What you got?
Let's go with, we'll keep it simple. Let's go with the all-time Maryland rebounders.
All-time Maryland rebounders. All right. Well, how many are we doing?
I have the list of the top 10 here. There are
10?
7 guys
right.
that have had 900 rebounds.
7 guys who have 900 or 900 rebounds or more. Yes. All right. Well, obviously Len Elmore and Juju Reese.
There you go. 1,053 for Len Elmore and Juju up to 1,007 after Sunday.
I will say Lonnie Baxter.
Lonnie Baxter came too shy.
Really?
The 1,000 rebound mark. Yeah, 998. Lonnie Baxter.
Well, you made it seem like he came too shy of the list. That's the part that
I
was a little
sorry. Lonnie Baxter, yes.
I was going to be really confused by the idea that by the way, for those that have brought it up during the show, I am aware of the post that Jeff Ehrman had on his website last night. It's behind the paywall, so we won't be talking about it. That's all I can tell you. The information he shared is not information I have. If I have information that's the same as what he's got, then I'll talk about it. I don't have that information. So I'm not going to give away what he has behind his paywall. So until it's free for everybody to see or others report about it or whatever it is, I don't react to it. That's all. Sorry. I'm not trying to be a jerk. Just, I've had a couple people now check in about that.
Did you like how they, the Maryland, or what was it, Daryl Pines was like, big announcement coming tomorrow? And they announced their commencement speaker today.
Oh, no.
And guess who the commencement speaker was, though?
Who?
Kermit the Frog.
Huh. It's the Jim Henson thing. That's actually kind of cool. Buck Williams?
Yeah, Buck Williams is on the list. He's somewhere on there. He's 5th, 928 for Buck Williams.
How about like there's guys that like it feels like it's got to be guys that are there for at least 3 years. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost definitely. I think. Yeah.
Keith Booth.
Keith Booth is on the list. I keep clicking out of it, but yes, Keith Booth. He's number 7. It's 916 for Keith Booth.
How about Abina Akizi?
No, Abina.
Akizi.
Akizi. That's what I said.
Yeah. Sure. Kawezi.
Akizi. No, Glenn. Akizi.
Shabuzi.
It's Akizi.
What if the bit and the I didn't think that Shane Gillis' second SNL was great, but the racial war midday show where somebody's at a Shabuzi concert and the black character's like, who's Shabuzi? And Shane Gillis says, first of all, he's a genius. It was very, very good.
Well, Shane Gillis was right, I think.
Was really well written. I mean, like really, really well written. Alex Len wasn't there long enough. I'll still try Len Bias.
Len Bias not on the list.
I mean, he's not like you're thinking it has to be Biggs, obviously. How about man? How about God? Who am I missing? Tom McMillan.
Tom McMillan not in the top 7. He is tied for 9th though. 800, only 859 for Tom McMillan.
Bum.
Yeah, there's some other guy I guess he played with that was stealing all his rebounds.
Yeah, Len Elmore, right?
Yeah. He's tied with Dante Scott for
what?
Dante Scott is top 9 or top 10.
We could have been here. I wouldn't have guessed Dante Scott at all. Man. Because like you think of a lot of guys that just weren't like Joe Smith. 2 years. No. Yeah, 2 years, not enough.
No Joe Smith.
Other bigs. Chris Wilcox was only 2 years. Jordan Williams?
No, not in the top.
I think he might have only been 2 years.
How many years was Jordan Williams there?
How about?
Yeah, I think he was only 2 years. Jordan Williams.
Let me get it. This guy had a lot of triple doubles. Derek Lewis.
Derek Lewis is
Okay.
number 4 all time in rebounding for the Maryland Terrapins. 948 between
It was a 4-year guy
between Lonnie Baxter and Buck Williams.
And he did have a lot of triple doubles, or at least he was the last Terp to have had a triple double before Gravis Vasquez, so that was enough for me to.
Number 6th on the list.
Number 6 on the list.
He was drafted. Okay.
He was drafted. Yeah. Number 6.
4-year career.
4-year career at Maryland was drafted. 4-year career at Maryland was drafted. Tony Massenberg.
Not Tony Massenberg.
Terrence Morris.
Terrence Morris is the correct answer. Yes, number 6 all time.
The funny thing about Terrence Morris is like he was a 4, but he was more of a stretch 4 before like we really saw it. He was a shooter. And was alongside both Akese and then Baxter after that. Wow. All right. Very good.
Covering Thomas Johnson.
Not bad. Good list. You bummed for Terrence Morris because he was the guy that like missed the final. Like he was out right before the Final Four teams. It's a real bummer for him. All right. How about we get Tubular then?
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
Here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise. Again, it's light before we get to opening day in the NCAA tournament tomorrow. Loyola Navy women's lacrosse tonight at 6 on CBS Sports Network, so a good chance to check out a couple local programs. Hopkins the women take on Madison at 5 o'clock on ESPN+. Stevenson men, they're on the road at Elizabethtown tonight at 7 on Flow Sports. The CBI Championship. How is your bracket looking for the CBI?
It starts tonight or it's been?
No, it's the championship. Is tonight.
Oh, it's the actual
championship.
Is it Chattanooga? If it's Chattanooga,
No.
I'm in good shape.
5 o'clock on ESPN2. Illinois State and Cleveland State in the CBI Championship. And then the NIT tonight, Kent State, Loyola, Chicago at 7, UAB, UC Irvine at 9. Monumental Wizards, Sixers at 7, ESPN, Lakers, Pacers at 7:30, Celtics, Suns at 10, TNT and True TV, Devils, Blackhawks at 7:30, Stars, Oilers at 10. More Miami Open today, starting at 1 on the Tennis Channel, and TBS for AEW Dynamite at 8. Non-sports?
Not a whole lot either. Of course, Survivor, though, The Amazing Race on CBS.
Yes, of course.
Yes, of
yes,
course. Well, I mean,
of course.
I know that you
Yes.
have that one marked down on the calendar. Abbott Elementary, new episode of that.
Do enjoy Abbott Elementary?
Actually, there are a couple things. Let's see. Mufasa the Lion King is streaming now on Disney+, so people can watch that if they'd like. We have the Netflix version of The Traitors, so I know you're gonna be dialed in for that.
Ah, yes.
$1
What
million.
what do you mean the Netflix version?
$1 Million Secret, obviously.
It's a different show. Or?
Yeah, it's a different show, but it's the exact same premise.
It's in the same universe. You're saying?
No,
This
it's not
is
the same universe. It's,
what?
Well, it's Netflix. Peacock. The Traitors was the
It's not a Traitor spinoff. It's just the same concept.
Yeah,
as
it's the same
got
concept
it.
where they're in this mansion in like
Got
this
it.
lakeside estate.
All right then.
And there's people. One person is given $1 million, and he has to hide the fact, or
Sure.
he or she has to hide the fact that
Sure.
they have the $1 million from everybody else, and try to not get voted out till the very end.
Right.
So that's on Netflix. And then Apple TV Plus has The Studio. This is Seth Rogen, and he is he's Catherine Hahn's in it, Bryan Cranston's in it, among other. Catherine O'Hara's in it, he is.
I mean, I like all these people.
Yeah. He works for a movie studio, like production.
You know what I like
company.
most is when Hollywood does stuff about themselves. That's my favorite thing that they do.
Yeah, but it's Seth Rogen and other people.
I do like all the people.
So he's the new head of the studio, and like he's like trying to like make the movie, I guess, and like it seems like he's not very good at it, or like but he wants to be good at it, and it's, I don't know, looks it's just about Hollywood making movies, that kind of thing. Ed Sheeran and Penn and Teller will be on Fallon.
Ah, yes, they're promoting The Accountant 2.
The Accountant 2?
Yes.
There's an Accountant 2 coming out?
You didn't know that?
No.
Yes, there's an Accountant 2 coming out.
Exciting.
Yeah.
And then Seth Rogen will be on Stephen Colbert tonight alongside Carrie Coon.
Oddly, also promoting The Accountant 2.
Wow.
It's strange.
Even though he's got his own show out.
Doing a big push. And Carrie Coon, right, you would think, is promoting White Lotus.
Yeah,
you would assume.
That's what I thought, personally.
No, she's actually, they're all at the big push tonight on all the shows. They're flooding them to promote, plug The Accountant 2.
Wow, cool. Well, I guess they're doing a good job because I didn't know about it. Now I know.
All right, look at how it's working.
So, yeah. That's it.
Very good. Thanks today to Drew Forrester. Thanks to Len Elmore and to JJ Hardy, who you're about to hear from. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the.
Can you take me?
Just gone right back. We've just bailed on anything that we were going to try.
Reset.
Forget it.
No, reset it.
Nope, we're not doing it.
Gotta reset it.
We're not doing it. Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com.
I'm from Baltimore, that's why.
Yeah, sure. Nailed it, bud. Nailed it.
I know it did.
Tomorrow on the program, Clark Kellogg's joining us,
yes,
right?
He will. Andy Katz will also talk to
Andy Katz talk some hoops with him, and I think Caleb Joseph is going to join us tomorrow. Right. I think we can do that.
Sounds good.
Former Orioles catcher, of course, Blue Jays broadcaster. As the season does start tomorrow, that's a thing. It's really weird when the team opens on the road. We are just not like that's a real game. They're really playing it, so we'll do that tomorrow. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel, Cruise Maryland, Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, Baltimore's Classic 5 Golf Courses, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Costas Inn, MSAA, Maryland Sports, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. I guess Blue Sky, too. Twitter, I got to start working that in. Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Wednesday evening. Go Loyola or Navy women. Go Stevenson men and Hopkins women. Duke sucks. We wrap up today's show. Had to do this a bit earlier, but an opportunity to catch up with Orioles Hall of Famer JJ Hardy right here on GCR. Always a pleasure to catch up with our next guest. He, of course, is a Baltimore Orioles Hall of Famer. He was also down with the team in Sarasota, spending some time as a guest instructor. He is JJ Hardy, and he's back with us now here on GCR. JJ, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's always great to catch up, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely great to talk to you, man. And I wonder, like, as these guys, we're a day away from opening day, and it's on the road, but what are the feels like now for a baseball player? Like 24 hours out, you've been through it for the last 6 weeks. What are these moments, these hours like when it's finally real?
You're ready. I mean, as a player, you're ready to go. Spring training always tends to be really long, so usually that last week or so starts dragging on, and when you're this close, you're ready. You're ready to get going.
I imagine, too, that, like, you've been ready, right? Like, you've been ready probably for 2 to 3 weeks at this point.
Exactly, yeah. That's why spring training just drags on.
Yeah.
Once you get all those live ABs and you feel like your legs are underneath you and you're healthy, then it's time to go.
JJ, what's it like? I know this isn't the first time you've done this, getting down there with the guys. Like, having built now maybe some relationships and, time. What is it like for you? What's the goal when you're down there other than to just, like be a sounding board, be a resource? Do you have, like, stuff that you want to work on with guys when you're down there?
No. The quick answer is no. I feel like mostly I'm trying not to step on anybody's toes. I feel like that coaching staff there does a fantastic job with everybody. There's a bunch of young players, a bunch of very talented young players. And I personally love it. I love being around it. The coaching staff, the players, they all make me feel very welcome. And I am just there. If there's any way that I can help, then I would love to. But I'm trying to stay out of the way and not step on anybody's toes.
Is it fun for you? Does it get the juices going a little bit? Does it make you feel like you're part of it when you get down there to do this?
It does. Yeah. Anytime you're in baseball pants and on the field, and whether I'm catching balls at first base or second base from those guys, I absolutely love it. It's just being around the game again, which I hadn't been for a few years.
Right.
And to get back and involved with them, it's a lot of fun for me.
So what does that mean to you to continue to be associated with this franchise in particular? Like I know that you played other places and you were beloved, right, in Milwaukee, but what does it mean to you to be able to continue a direct association with this club the way that you have?
I'm honored. I mean, it's all new front office, and for them to acknowledge and reach out to previous players and bring them back and let them, kind of hang out with this new generation of players. It's fantastic.
I think it's really cool. JJ Hardy is with us here on GCR. JJ, one of the storylines, and I wonder generically if you can speak to it, that we've been talking about a lot is obviously we know Gunnar is going to miss the start of the season, and we've seen Jackson playing shortstop in spring training. And some people have the opinion of, well, hey, if he's your second baseman, like Gunnar's going to be back soon, why wouldn't you just have him focused on playing second base every day? Why even mess with it? Why move him all over it all? And I wonder if you can give us any sort of thought on, does that even make sense, right? Like, does it make sense to have somebody playing a different position? Is it not that big of a deal? Are we idiots when we think that it might hurt someone to go play a couple of weeks at shortstop as far as the development is concerned at second?
Well, first of all, I think Jackson's a good enough athlete to do it, and that's the position he grew up playing. And second, I think that discussion goes on a lot in the front office and with the coaching staff, and it's not like they're just doing it for no reason. I'm sure there's a reason why, and I, as a player, would always sit back and just trust them. They know what they're doing. But to that point, whenever I would get hurt and Machado was at third base, Buck liked to leave Machado at third base because he was so good at third base, and didn't want to mix it all up. So there's two sides to it, but I would say that I would trust the front office and the coaching staff and let them do their job and know that they're doing it for a reason.
Did you get a sense when you were down there of Jackson's comfort at second? Like, we know that's going to be his spot. Like, Jordan Westberg looked great at third. Gunnar is obviously going to be playing short. Did you get a sense for now, a couple years in, how much even maybe more comfortable he appeared to be at second base?
Yeah, I think the more time he spends over there, the more comfortable he's going to get. And I think this being his second year of doing it, I think he's a lot more comfortable.
Can you explain for the dummies how different? Like, again, a lot of us would say, well, they're middle infield positions, right? Like, how different can they really be? Can you explain maybe what makes it so different playing second than playing shortstop?
The throw, for one. I mean, I never played second base other than we had some shifts. And to speak on that point, like, the throw is much different. A shorter throw. Turning double plays from the other side of the bag is different. I think that's maybe the biggest thing. Maybe feeds to shortstop would be way different because you never practice that. A feed from second base to short if you're always a shortstop. So there's a few things that that definitely factor in, but I never played over there, so I can't fully speak to it. And I just say that Jackson's an amazing athlete, so he's able to adapt and adjust to it pretty easily.
We're looking forward to seeing more of that. The great JJ Hardy is with us here on GCR. JJ, so much was made. Having guys like you and Scope behind and what it did for pitchers. I know a lot is made about maybe what the Orioles didn't do pitching-wise, and everybody wishes that Corbin Burns was back, but that's not the case. How much of a difference will it make if Jackson continues, if we see the version of Gunnar that we saw early on last year where he was, looking like one of the best defensive shortstops, how much of a difference does that make for pitchers and getting more out of them to have that confidence in the guys behind them?
I think that goes in all aspects of the game. I mean, as an infielder, if you've got a first baseman that can absolutely pick it over there, you're more comfortable. You're making better throws. I think if the pitchers feel that anytime they get a ground ball, they're going to get an out, maybe they throw more strikes. I think it it just goes with every aspect of the game. If you're confident with the rest of your team and your teammates, then it's going to make you a better player.
Do you have a sense for what, these last couple of years and this franchise being in the conversation, winning, getting to the postseason, but coming up short? Do you have a sense for how it's driving them? Like, it's maybe similar to what you guys went through during your run here in Baltimore. How much it's driving them, that proverbial next step in this process?
A lot. I mean, I think as athletes, all of us are super competitive and we hate losing. So to be as close as they've been, I mean, with last postseason, with previous postseasons, whatever. I mean, it's just when you're that close, it drives every one of us to work a little harder, to figure out what we could have done better to get to that next step.
The sense is that you're better suited. We'll say things like that, right? Like you'll be better for those experiences. Is that because of the hunger? Are there other reasons why it can be beneficial to go through that type of disappointment driving you forward?
It absolutely could. Failure always is going to make you better if you're willing to learn from it, I think. With these guys, you got to remember, too, that they're so young. I mean, it's like not many people can go into the big leagues and just instantly have success. It usually takes some time. And that time with all of these guys that they're getting more and more experience, of course it's going to pay off.
Do you, I was wondering if maybe, because I know you weren't always the biggest prankster. Did you at least, attempt to say something to, Charlie Morton, hey, man, I love growing up watching you? Did you do anything like that?
No, I didn't. I had a really nice conversation with Charlie early in spring, just talking about, I think it's awesome that he's still going. And, at this age, and he's still competing. He's still able to do it. I don't think there's a whole lot of people that can be in that position, but he's also in the position of being a father of, I think he said 4 kids.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's a tough position to be in, but my advice to him was to do it as long as he possibly can, because that window's going to close someday, and he's not going to be able to do that anymore, and he'll still be able to be a dad.
We always talk about, with a veteran pitcher, what it does for other pitchers on the roster, but someone with that much experience and that much success, does it go beyond just, I think in our minds we imagine it being like a middle school dance with boys on one side, girls on the other side, and we're thinking the pitchers are over here, and but what does someone like that do for an entire team, not just maybe the pitcher?
I think leadership in general is huge. I feel like anytime there's a young pitcher and they've got a veteran guy who's been around and done it as long as Charlie, that they can either just watch how he goes about his business and does things, or they can go up and ask him. And Charlie seems like the guy that's very open to all of that. And it's going to help. It's going to help everybody. If you've been playing the game for that long, then obviously you're doing something right.
Was there anyone else that you being down there you didn't know that you met for the first time, and you took something away from the conversation or really impressed you, just maybe even watching them?
Ooh, I don't know. I feel like for me, just these last 2 years, I go down there. It's not quite as much as the first year I went down there of learning kind of a new clubhouse because, being out here on the West Coast, I hadn't watched a ton of games. Our schedules just didn't match up. So really the first year I went down there, I'm sitting at the breakfast table or the lunch table, and I'm not quite sure who I'm sitting next to. It's hard to have conversations with oh, what do you do here? Are you coach? Are you a player? And it's oh my gosh, you can't have conversations like that if you don't know. So there was a big learning curve for me getting to know a lot of new faces. And obviously this year it was a lot more comfortable for me. Watched a few more games and was able to spent some time down there last year that helped a lot.
Is there anyone that the way the bat sounds or what they do on a day-to-day basis, you find yourself saying that he might not be there yet, but that guy's a baseball player. Watch out for that guy.
There's definitely a lot of baseball players in that clubhouse, which is awesome. I would say that I enjoy, as serious as I was when I played between the lines and was pretty locked in, I always did enjoy a guy that was pretty vocal and funny and just kind of kept it loose in the dugout or in the locker room. And I would say Colton Cowser does a pretty good job of that.
He's the king, right?
He's a lot of fun to be around. He's easy to talk to, and and I hope he has a ton of more success this year and just keeps getting better.
It's so funny you bring. Can I ask you this? Because I remember, like, I always felt like when we would have a conversation, it was never unpleasant, right? Like you're one of the most pleasant people, but you always had this sort of like business-like approach to you. Was that always the way you were? Was that just how you came up in the game? Where did that come from for you, JJ?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can pinpoint it. I think there were times that I tried to be really loose and be able to joke around and play very lackadaisical like some of my teammates would, and it never, ever went well. The minute I actually thought about trying to do that, I would boot the next ball. And I mean, an example would be, like Machado and Scope would be yelling at each other from third base to second base, just joking around, making fun of one another. And I'm in the middle hearing it, but I can't let my guard down. I got to pay attention to what the balls hit to me. And I remember, purposely trying to join the conversation, jump in with them, have fun, and it didn't go well.
Wow.
So I always just had to stay super focused.
That is like, did you ever tell them that? Did you ever have to be like, guys, can you leave me alone for a minute?
I think they knew, and they probably did it a little bit more knowing that I was hearing everything that they were saying.
I kind of love that, actually. Yeah. The other thing that was going on down there in spring training was ABS, right? And the challenge system. What did you make of it, seeing it? And do you feel like this is the form in which it should come to the major leagues in the coming years, or do they still need to tinker with it somehow?
I like it. I mean, I think they'll continue to look at it and see how it goes, but I definitely like it. I think in big situations, you got to remember umpires are human too, and they might miss a call, and it's crazy. You miss a call by an inch or less than an inch, and it could change the outcome of the game. Yeah. So I like it. Don't know how the umpires feel about it or not, but it seems like it's going pretty well.
What else is going on in your world, man? Now you go down, you do the cameo there, and is it like back to living the good life? Like what else is happening for JJ Hardy?
I'm coaching my 9-year-old. They played their first game last night.
That's awesome.
He pitched he got the opening day start. Pitched 1 inning, walked a couple guys, struck out 3. But at 9 years old, with the drop third strike, they're allowing these kids to run, and it's hard for the first baseman to even know that he needs to cover, and for the catcher to pick up the ball and make a good throw. It's tough to get outs at this level.
So I it's funny. I have a 10-year-old, and he's actually working with your former teammate Steve Johnson right now to get him ready for the start of his season, as he was also like the number 1 pitcher on his team last year. And boy, like I don't know that he has the stuff. But my God, what it did for his confidence the first time he pitched, like, and these are just kids, they're just out there swinging. He actually struck out the side, and it I watched him change as a human being in that moment.
Yeah,
it
is so much fun watching these kids play and just enjoy it, and it's fun. I mean, they're learning so much at this age, and it's hard to coach because at times I'm like, where do you start? Like, what could you tell them that might help? Like one thing, because there's so many things they could fix, but just one thing, because it overloads their system, and they just it's tough. It's tough to coach. It's much easier to coach big leaguers than it is 9-year-olds. I'll tell you that.
It's so wild. It's so wild. But I know what you're saying, and I know you're right. JJ Hardy, always appreciate you, man. Thanks for spending some time with us today. Look forward to seeing you back here before too long and doing this again, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.